Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Sorry, I was checking. I was trying to turn on my phone to see if I could hear. Sorry about that. I turned off the sound. You know what? Actually, before we get started, let me go ahead and check my sound because I don't get an opportunity to do a sound check in the morning because it's just me. And Delilah doesn't really, come here and tell me whether I'm loud or not. She kind of just looks at me and, just licks her lips, which typically tells me she wants a treat or some water or something like that. So we're going to have to do a sound check in the mornings just to make sure that we're working. So before we get started, let me go ahead and pull this up. I want you guys to, well, it's going to kind of tell what I'm going into. Let's not do that. You know what? I know what we can do. We will do my intro. Make sure this is not up on the screen so you guys aren't seeing it. Good. Okay. Yes, I realize I had no sound this morning. You guys should be able to hear me wonderfully right now because I'm screaming in my little earbuds. And I know that our motivation behind this channel is to be the loudest true crime channel on social media. And I think we kind of hit it out of the park, but then I came to this new program and it's toning Betty down, okay? So I'm trying to boost the volume up so I could be screaming at you again. I feel like you guys are missing me screaming at you guys in the morning. So let's go ahead and do our sound check. I'm going to put out a video. This is an intro video. I guess I could have turned it into an intro video. I may just do that. We got to go over a new little story. Oh, I forgot about this. OMG. Hold on a second before we get, this goes to the BK case. Okay. Now we're going to turn this off. Okay. Oopsie daisy. Guys, give me just a second. I forgot about this and I've got to put this up here because I'm in the know. You guys aren't in the know. And so I there's things I've got to keep to myself and there's things that I can share with you guys. And when it comes to Olivia, we try to keep her protected as much as possible because she's one of my closest friends, content creators. I met her, covering the Gabby Petito case, and we flew all over the country together for 2 years. And she was my collaborator with the Idaho 4 case. And my collaborator with a lot of cases when we go boots on the ground because we work well together and we have a really investigative eye and keen to detail when we're together. We just work very, very well. But in all fairness, she's kind of, moved on with her life a little bit. And I'm so proud of her. But nonetheless, she's my BFF. I feel like I lost my wingman. Not like that. We're never like that, trust me. But I feel like, I lost a little piece of me. But it's one of those things where I'm so extremely Dad, burn it. Okay, there we go. I'm so proud of her. But and very happy for her because she's younger than me, right? She still has a life to live, right? I'm getting to the middle-aged woman. She's still the youngster, right? That still has a lot of spunk left in her. And we don't want to diffuse that. So maybe I'll start out with this. This will be easy enough. So let me go ahead and put this back up. We're going to do a mic check. I know my mic's working fine, but I need to also do a sound check for our audio on our presentation material. So I'm going to do just a few seconds of audio. Let me get that off there. We'll say good morning. Good morning, everyone. I didn't even say good morning. I see Big Mac Mike. I see Melanie. It's nice to see you. Sonia, Crystal Pistol, me and you. Mad Chatter. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. No Clue. Hobo Mom, it's nice to see you. Tejara, if I'm pronouncing that right, I do butcher people's names here, so give me some grace. The lady Lexi, it's nice to see you. Cheryl, I know that there's a lot of people up in our chat right now, dreaming blue skies and sandy beaches. Who else do we have? Tangled Cords, Callie True Crime Chick, it's nice to have you. Faye, our regular chat. So it's just nice to have everybody here this morning. If you guys would like, one of the things that we are trying to do for this channel is words of affirmation. If you'd like to put those in super chats, you can. I know the super stickers come up with little, you can put them in like almost emoji format, or you can just for free type something powerful in the chat that the viewers will read that will be positive affirmations, something to inspire people, something to empower people, anything that you got in your soul that's good, put it out there in the chat for the people that might be struggling today. Not everybody's having a great day today. We're all having better days than most of the people we cover on this channel, but be sure to, say hi to one another. This is a community and we have the backs of these victims, and we want to make sure that we are all here and uplifting people, not putting our foot on the necks of people that are trying to do good things. We want to uplift and empower people. So you matter, these cases matter, the victims matter, but we all have to be healthy of mind, body, and soul as well. So we put a lot of gunk in our bodies and we get very emotional on these cases because it's our natural human nature to do so. So because we're humans, and we're real humans and we have our emotions and we're not all messed up in the brain and the cranium, these things gunk us up, and we carry some of that weight with us. So the only way we can release that is to find things to joke about, find things to uplift us with. I don't want you guys taking the weight of these cases and carrying them around with you to work, to home, to your children's games. We want uplifting. We want you to be able to take those moments and realize you are very blessed because you could be like one of our victims here, and you're not part of a statistic. You get to live your life and you get to be out there with your children, and we want you to have the most the best part of your personal life as you advocate for these victims. I accidentally hit that when I hit pronounced Tahara. Oh, okay, Tahara. Thank you. I don't care if you butcher it. Well, my real name is Andra, and everybody can call me Andra, Andrea, Andrea. I remember when I was, I think I was turning 18, maybe I was turning 20, and I was working for an accountant at the time, and his wife loved me, and her name was Susan Tim. She ended up becoming a librarian. But anyways, I really, really appreciate her. And anyways, one year, I was going to school to become a paralegal, so they knew they were going to lose me, and they kept me as long as they could. And actually brought me back later because we had such a great connection. Anyways, one year for my birthday, she put a rubber rat in the kitchen, which to scare me. She was a jokester. And then my birthday present was a new briefcase, nice leather briefcase. Still have it to this day. 20 some odd years later, still have that briefcase. Don't use it, but kept it because it's a token of this life. Anyways, so she put on this birthday card like 15 different names for me. Every name she's ever heard any client call me, she listed on this birthday card. It was great. So I really do go out of my way to try to find the proper pronunciation. So if I'm butchering your name, do what Tahara did, and that is tell me how to pronounce it. So thank you for that. Anyways, we're going to do a sound check here. So let me just run this 20 seconds. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then I'll kind of get into a little more details here.
Interviewed Stephen's family. This was when Bryan was still not arrested yet. And Steve Gonzalez actually reached out.
All right. So before we go any further, did you guys have an opportunity to hear that? Can you guys hear it coming through? Because I'm not hearing echoes today. So I want to make sure that you guys are hearing it and not having any problem. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to respond, and then we'll get started with our show. Thank you, Miss Sonia. Oops. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting a message from my little sister but it says, don't eat Walmart shrimp. So she must have had a bad shrimp. I only buy Walmart shrimp, the cooked shrimp. I don't get the raw shrimp. I cook the shrimp even more than that, but it's just easier for me when I get the frozen shrimp. She knows where I get my shrimp. So I don't know what that's all about, but I wonder if there's a recall on shrimp or if she just had bad shrimp. So I just let you know. That's what my sister just said. Were you guys able to hear the words coming out? Why is this in top chat? This should be in live chat. I changed it in live chat before I popped it out. Okay, let me go back up. Yes, sounds good. Perfect. So if you guys don't know this beautiful girl right here, I shouldn't call her a girl, okay? She's a young woman, young lady. If you guys don't know who this beautiful young lady that is before you on News Nation is, this right here is Chronicles of Olivia. She is the gal that I met out in front of Gabby Petito. Her and I became, it's a recall. Thank you, Dixie. All right, so we're getting stuff. My sister's a reporter in California, in Louisiana. So when I hear stuff from her, I wonder, yeah, that's it. It makes sense. But I bought my shrimp. I freeze my shrimp. So my French shrimp's cooked. It's been in the freezer. I don't think I'm part of the recall shrimp, but I'll check. So anyways, I traveled with Olivia all over the country. We started with the Gabby Petito case. We went out and followed Gabby Petito's life out and where her and Bryan Laundrie went. We went out to Mary Piglet's. We went out to Jackson Hole, Mississippi. Wyoming. And we followed everything we knew where Bryan and Gabby went, and we documented. We did a full documentary on there. She did the documentary. We still all have the content, and then we went into the case of Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner, and they were the two people that observed Bryan Laundrie hit Gabby Petito in the face at right out in front of the Moonflower, in front of the coffee house, which was right across the street from the Moonflower co-op. So it was just a lot. And then we went over to Summer Wells, and then by the time we got to Summer Wells, all the hate channels, because of the notoriety, us traveling all over the country, they started getting jealous and started trying to destroy everything that we were working on to advocate for these things and just tell the story. But we weathered the storm, and comes the Idaho 4. This kind of was very impactful. My little sister, ironically, telling me about the shrimp this morning. She is about the age. She had just recently graduated from her university just a few years, or 2 or 3 years prior to this event with the Idaho 4. And of course, Olivia being in the same age group as these kids, it really did kind of affect us on a personal level. And that's really what causes it, because when we're affected, when the content creator is affected on a personal level, we want answers. We put the rubber meets the road when we're emotional, and we want to find out what happened, one, for ourselves, but also to bring it back to our audience, because we're so confused about the details. Details aren't making sense. We need to get an understanding of what's really going on. I don't like saying this is rumor. I don't know if this happened. I don't know this. I don't know that, but this is what we're hearing. I can't stand that. It drives me nuts. I like to be in the know. I like to come here and tell you this is what is factual. And sometimes, all too often, when I'm sitting on this side of the camera in this home and in this office, it doesn't, we're in the I don't knows. Is this true? Could this be true? When we're out there on boots on the ground, if we have those questions, we go find the answer. It's very little unknown when we're out there on the scene. So many people have been, I'm sure, a lot of the hate channels, because they never know what the hell they're talking about anyways, have probably been saying some horrible things, like me and Olivia aren't working together or anything like that. We work together when we can work together. But as you guys notice, she has a life. She is no longer a single woman. And I had to give up my Olivia, okay? Because she deserves a life and she deserves to be happy. And the case of the Idaho 4 brought her and Kaylee Gonzalez's brother together. It didn't mean to happen. You know, I'm sure it hasn't gone without some type of struggles. And then coming live about this, it wasn't something that happened when we were at Idaho. I never personally met Steve. I met his dad. I met his mom. Met his sister. We were invited in their house. We did an interview. You know, it was a weird, you know, not weird, but it was kind of weird. It's like this ironic pull from Olivia into this family. And it's been that way since the beginning of the case, when Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's father, actually reached out to Olivia. He realized his daughter was following Olivia's content, which the majority of the content was us. You know, so his daughter had a you know, she was a true crimey, and she loved the content of Chronicles of Olivia, which again, for the last, you know, prior to this, 2.5 years prior to the Idaho 4, since I guess maybe not that long, because they happened at the end of 2022. So I would say about a year and a half after Olivia and I were together, we, you know, we have been filming. It was mostly Summer Wells. Who else were we covering at the time? Because she didn't cover the one that was in Pasco. So I think it was Gabby Petito. It was Kylan Schulte, Crystal Turner, Summer Wells. Then we came back here. We were working on Summer Wells for a while. I think we did another case for some reason. And then we ended up, the Idaho 4 happened, and that all consumed us for, you know, a significant amount of time. Well, she was invited to do a documentary with NBC. And in that documentary, she had already started speaking to some of the siblings of Kaylee at this time. And so she wanted to bring Stephen into the mix. They had just started talking. And so I guess when they were out there and were spending a little more time together, they realized they had this connection. And so even after that, they still didn't, you know, they were just kind of chit-chatting. And, you know, and about a year later, they decided to kind of become an item under the radar, which many people that are in the spotlight kind of do. And now that they're on more solid ground in their relationship, they're obviously now coming out. So for all the people that didn't understand where Olivia went, and I tried telling you guys she's okay, this is it. So if you guys notice, she took a dip in her TikTok, her YouTube. There was just a time that she just wasn't producing anything. Well, now you guys know why, okay? So now you guys know why. My beautiful friend has met the love of her life. And, you know, they are really talking about life moving forward, which means Olivia's probably going to have to slow down for a little bit because she's young. And as many of you guys know, young people, when they're together, they already are talking about what? Family. So now you guys are asking when Bullhorn Betty may become an aunt. I hope I'm not an aunt anytime soon. But if I become an aunt before I'm ready to become an aunt, I will take the baton and make sure that the kids are filled up. And this is for Steve. I know you don't know me, but I've already warned Olivia, if I am babysitting the children, just be prepared. They're going to be bouncing off the walls because I feed the kids candy and send them home with a bullhorn. So if you guys really want me to babysit, I'm usually the last person on the list, but I'm happy. But I'm just giving you my disclaimer, okay? Because I know Olivia forgets to tell you all the consequences. So best of luck to my BFF. Chronicles of Olivia, her and Steve are official. So I thought you guys might want to hear just from their words themselves.
Out to me via email. He had seen that Peely was following me on TikTok, and
so hold on
until almost even a year after that, we were friends first, and then I invited him to I was filming a documentary with NBC, and I wanted Stephen to be a part of it. And it was on set where we bonded. We were skipping rocks, you can see in the documentary, and that was really when we first really met, and we just became best friends after that, and it's history.
Aww.
That's amazing. Stephen, you look so much like your dad, by the way. I'm just noticing in all the pictures and you sitting there with your hat on. What has this been like for you? I mean, this has obviously been just a terrible couple of years when it comes to what happened to your sister, but it's nice to see that there's sort of a bright spot that's come out of this.
I want to cry. Aww.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Might be
kind of referencing one of my dad's previous interviews, I hate to say it, it sounds terrible and it won't make sense to a lot of people, but our family was kind of built for this type of thing. We're not cowards. We don't shy away from altercation. We were really willing to go to bat for Kaylee to whatever extent that meant. And I truly believe we did try. We ended up losing, and that sucks. It sucks to lose. It really does. But there's a bright spot. I did meet Olivia. I do have my partner for the rest of my life, and I'll hold on to that.
Yeah, and I've seen Olivia, Stephen. I mean, she travels all over the country. I think the first time I saw Olivia, she was wearing literally like camo gear, going into the swamp to look for Bryan laundry. So are you sure you know what you're signing up for here, Stephen?
She's a soldier. She's built for it.
Are you going to take him on the road with you, Olivia? I mean, because you're traveling all the time with what you do.
Yes, we actually talked about this. There's actually some families that have reached out to me that need help here in Idaho that I will be working with, and I want to bring Stephen along. And we also are planning our future together. Eventually, we would like to homestead, get some chickens, raise a family together. So I probably won't have as much time to be on the road, and I'll be kind of more working from home, but we'll do some stories together and help other families, because that's really what it boils down to is helping other people and giving them a voice, because some families don't have a voice, or their case is so small that no one pays attention to them.
Yeah, we see it all the time. I mean, people who don't, their cases don't get picked up by the media.
I don't think so, Pussy Willow Pendercat, and I'll go through that. He's just a great friend. I'll go through that privately. But he's just a great friend. He's a great friend. I should. When we were out there, we were friends. We're all over the place. Anymore. I'm kind of homebound right now because of everything going on in with my personal stuff. But when we're out there, we're on the same circuit together. Like, we've been out with Bryan Enton at hurricanes. When we were down in Fort Myers, those photos were horrific. And we're happy to see each other when we're out there, and we sit and chat with each other for a few minutes every time we're out there and get kind of caught up with, how you doing? How's the fam? How's how's everything going in your personal life? Blah, blah, blah. And, we like to see, but it's always such horrible circumstances when we always run into each other. It's usually a horrific, event that happened, like the hurricanes in Fort Myers that washed people away. It was just horrific. Gabby Petito, we've been out. Well, I saw him out at, he was out at Mar-a-Lago with me. And then I think his cameraman was in DC when I was in DC for other events other than this type of stuff. So it's like, we see each other all over, and he's been at a lot of different places, even Alec Murdaugh. When we were there at the Supreme Court in front of Judge Toll, we were sitting across the street, the aisle from one another, and he was checking on me and everything like that, and I started telling him about the stuff I was going through with the whole QB channel. And how people were, showing up at court hearings, showing up at my house, the whole gamut. It's insane, and it's not well taken by anybody out there doing this stuff. We don't want you coming to our homes, okay? Period. I don't care who you think you are, what you think you can do. for him, he's a public person, so he has to take, he's worldwide. People know him by millions of people. Little old me, I got a few people here, there. I'm a private person. Just because I'm out here and I talk on a show doesn't automatically make me a public person. So we have privacy and we have privacy rights. Okay, that's the difference. What people don't understand with the law is like Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot are public people. Their son's case went worldwide. They have a higher level of scrutiny that can be applied to them as opposed to a private citizen. And so we were going over that. I don't want to get too lost in the details. But again, you want to know where Olivia was? She's been in love, guys. She has been in love. That's where your girl has been. So I'm just really happy for my friend. I'm not going to tell you guys where she is or what she's doing or anything like that, but I'm just really happy with how everything's progressing in her life. All right, guys, we are going to be talking about the Idaho 4, and I kind of started off with the love story at first, but, now we got to kind of get back on to track with the show. And right now we've been talking about Emmanuel, and then of course there's been a lot of information dropped about Bryan Kohberger. And so because all of this information, this is going to be a very lengthy show today. That's why we started so early, because I need to be wrapped up early enough that I can get everything I need to get done today. And I've got a lot of deadlines, personal deadlines that have to be wrapped up today. So we're going to go ahead and push this all out. Again, right now, all we're doing is for the goal, if you guys would like to say some positive affirmations, positivity, if you have questions, please hold the questions, even with the super chats, until we get to that aspect of it, because it just makes it difficult. I can go back up, but I just don't want to have to stop and answer questions. We'll answer all the questions at the end of the segments. So the first one is because we have been covering baby Emmanuel, one of our audience members sent me this story, and it's another horrific story, guys. We'll do that. We'll keep that up. We'll keep that up for a little bit. We need the freaking mullet. Where the hell did I put the mullet? The mullet, you know what? I bet you it's still in my, hold on a second. We're getting this mullet damn thing. We're getting this mullet issue resolved today. But we'll do it a little later because it has nothing to do with this. But we needed to put our mullet thing, our mullet picture up. And it's kind of like this. We'll do the whack of the troll, and then we'll get on to the next show.
Sneaky gremlins love to fight, but we're here to set it right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot. Turning trolls into what they're not. Whack a troll, let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick. Whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
We love our little trolls. We love our trolls. We love to whack a troll. We love to whack a troll. Okay, so this one's not a very good story at all, okay? It's kind of on the same vein as Emmanuel Haro. The difference is this child's father was actually law enforcement. And I think that is the most shocking detail of this, is that this person is supposed to protect people, yet he is so trigger happy that he can't even handle a crying baby. And that's what's really, really sad. So this next story is coming out of Wisconsin. And there is the daddy of the year, right there. Your 14% fan. I need more coffee. We're all going to need more coffee. Grab some tissues too, because I got to tell you, this right here upsets me. Upsets me. Not just upsets me, but the mom did the right thing in this situation. It took her a little longer to act, but I think when people are in DV homes, I think they try to keep things under wraps and shoveled under the rug as much as possible. But and that's what we're having a problem with Rebecca, because even mothers of DV at a point, they're like, no, the father's telling her, don't call the hospital, don't take the child to the hospital, the child will be just fine, right? That's what they're always saying, the child will be just fine. You're making a bigger deal out of it than should be. But mothers need to trust their instinct even when they're abused. And I truly believe that this is another abused woman because of how she describes her abusive husband. Because nobody can just hurt a baby and be okay with it. Okay? Let's be honest. There you go. I love that. You guys can do words of affirmation by emoji. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Thank you, Lady for Justice. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But I do believe that this lady is also abused. Let's read this article. So it's going to move up, but I want you to take a good look at this POS. Oh, thank you, Michelle. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please thank Michelle. She just gifted you that membership, and that's to Kathleen. Well, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Well, thank you. Kathleen, it's official. You've been part of the family for a while, but you official now, girl. Nice, nice. So this is in Wisconsin. Let's pray to God they give him more time than 6 months, work release. I mean, this is an officer. And not only that, let's step back a second before we get into the story. Just by knowing that this man has been arrested for injuring his child because he has a short fuse. How many times did he use that short fuse against unsuspecting people of crime? Or even people he deemed were suspects? It looks like he's a beat cop. How many times did he use his anger against somebody else and wrote him up and put it in the report and they got in trouble when it was all him? I mean, this goes, when I start seeing stuff like this, I have to look that this is a pattern of behavior. How much of that pattern of behavior did he take on the job with him? And how many people are victims on the job of this officer? This good-looking, innocent, sweet police officer. We have to ask those questions too, and I hope law enforcement not only is investigating him for the child crimes, but is investigating him for crimes on the job, because people don't turn like this overnight. They just don't. They don't. Oh, thank you, Coach Trey. Just subscribe. I appreciate it. So people like this, what else have they done? I always ask the question, what else have they done? So let's read this. This is out of Wisconsin, and I pray to God that Wisconsin gives him more than 6 months for what he did to his baby. A Portage police officer shoved a pacifier down his 6-month-old son's throat so hard it caused bleeding on the baby's brain. That gentleman you just saw, I know you guys have a problem with me calling people gentlemen, but, this a-hole, his name is Cameron Coronado, and he is charged with child abuse, disorderly conduct with domestic abuse modifier. According to the criminal complaint, a woman, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing this one, it's S-A-U-K, Sauk County detective, that the baby was fussy earlier that morning, so Coronado took him to the kitchen. The woman heard Coronado say, "Oh my God, shut the F up." Then heard the baby crying change. When the woman went into the kitchen, Coronado was wiping the baby's mouth with a wipe. Blood could allegedly be seen on the wipe near the baby's mouth. An officer, a police officer, sworn to uphold the law and to protect us. I don't need his kind of protection, thank you. Thank you. When the woman asked Coronado what happened, he allegedly told her he shoved the pacifier down the baby's mouth, that the baby was bleeding and couldn't get the bleeding to stop. According to the complaint, the baby calmed down, and when the woman cleaned up the blood, she was able to see a cut in the back of the child's throat. The baby fell asleep but woke up 15 minutes later, crying in pain. Coronado reportedly took the child for a car ride, but when they got back, he was still crying, had difficulty swallowing, and would not eat. When the woman asked if they should take the child to the hospital, Coronado allegedly opposed the idea, saying he knew what was going to happen. According to the complaint, the woman told detectives, so he knew. He knew. Sweetie pie, yeah, the baby kind of, we don't know, right? You never really know what kind of damage you do until the child develops a little better. Let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. Remember, you have much to offer. Oh, thank you. So that's sweet. I love that. I love that. Don't forget. Oh, and that reminds me, at the end of this show, we need to do a rotating thing. Give me 3 names, but I'll let you know when to pull them. So he knew what he did, and he tried to cover it up and try to convince this, I don't think the baby's, well, it's a young baby. I don't know. They're calling him a baby, so I'd have to think under the age of 1. 6-month-old. 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 Remember, Emmanuel's 7 months old. So he's saying, don't report it. We know what's going to happen. According to the complaint, the woman told detectives she was hesitant to call law enforcement over previous incidents because Coronado worked as a police officer. The woman eventually, guys get this? The woman eventually did take the baby to the hospital. This is the problem with domestic violence, okay? And I'm not going to call it DV. I don't care if YouTube wants to strike this and remove my monetization, they can. But domestic violence is a problem in this country. Oh, thank you, Sweetie Pie. Sweetie Pie, member for 31 months. Good gracious. Good gracious. Been putting up with my boo for entirely too long. Just joking. Thank you, love. Thank you. So this is the problem with domestic violence, is they're violent, and the woman that's taking this doesn't know what to do, because her job is to keep the violence from spilling out into law enforcement and getting people arrested and stuff like that. Because when people get arrested or the abuse is known, the abuse is 10 times worse. The punishment is 10 times worse, 100 times worse. So I don't know. They're not alleging in here that this is his wife. They refer to her as the woman in this complaint, or in this report. So I don't know the name. It sounds like it's a woman that had a baby with this man. Are they married? Great question. I'm unsure. According to so eventually the woman did take the baby to the hospital. The complaint claims the doctors found, okay, here's the bad part, okay? What happened on that car ride? A great question. But I don't think any more had happened, because the what I'm about to read here, it's you can tell it's all part of that same situation. It doesn't sound like there was additional injuries sustained on the car ride. So the complaint claims doctors found that the first layer of the baby's skin was scraped off by something of force. However, they took a CT scan and realized that shove of the pacifier was so aggressive it caused a brain bleed. So this is the problem we have, because in fairness, you're never going to find out what truly that did to that child until that child starts developing a little more. Because what does a baby do? A baby does goo goo gaga. Okay? Any baby can go goo 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 gaga. You don't understand the damage to that brain until the child starts developing. That means they start trying to learn. They start developing their words. They start walking. That's when you realize your child's not walking, with the same standard of other children at this child. Maybe the child might be low birth or low weight. The child might not be catching on to things. You never know what type of, I don't care whether the doctor says 100% of the brain is active. You don't know what that strike to that child's brain will be until that child develops. And it may be much more severe than what those doctors are telling you. They may have lifelong headaches. They may have, what's that thing that makes you, epilepsy. They may start forming epilepsy. I don't necessarily agree with that, because when it's a baby's face, and if he shoved it in the face, hard, you're hitting, you're hitting the front of the face. That can cause a brain bleed. So he had to have, he shoved it in that child's mouth, probably like a punch. Let's be honest, because that's the only way that child would have had that kind of injury in the back of the mouth. And that kind of injury in the back of the brain. I could see that it could cause the brain injury, because I think it was such force to the face. And we have to think of it like that, because the mouth is right here. It's like punching a 6-month-old child in the face. I think that can cause a brain bleed. So just my opinion. But yeah, I do believe that it was enough to do that. So just sad. And this is, this is information coming off of, I know it just happens to be somebody picking up on this case because they're following the Emmanuel Haro case. But how horrible is it? Like, we don't want to believe that this stuff is common, or more common than it obviously, than what we're seeing here. Because we don't want to ever think that any child under the age of 1 is being punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? It's not funny. Do these animals not think these children feel? They feel everything. The difference is they can't speak. What freaking cowards. What blessed cowards. I'd like that officer to come shove a pacifier down my throat. You know why? Because that piece of coward wouldn't do it to an adult that can defend themselves, because they're flipping cowards. That's why. That's why. I'm a short little thing, too. I'm hardly intimidating. My words are more intimidating than my structure, I can tell you that. Fracture on the roof of the mouth as a child, which is the base of the skull. And yeah. Wow. We don't know where the brain bleed was either. I mean, you got a whole cranium, so, I mean, it can be in the back, it can be in the front, it can be on the side, but it doesn't matter. I mean, to have that kind of force, again, we don't know what the condition of this child is. The condition of this child might be, they're recovered and they're going to have a healthy life. We don't know. All right, guys, we're going to get on to the Bryan Kohberger stuff. This is going to be a little lengthy, and then we'll get over to Emmanuel. There's a lot of details on Emmanuel's case that you guys will want to know. So I'm probably going to touch base here. We're probably going to gloss over some of the stuff with the Bryan Kohberger case, get over to Emmanuel's case, dive into the new breaking information, because that's an active and ongoing case, and then we'll dovetail back over to Bryan Kohberger's case. So that's kind of going to be the format of the show, and we're going to dive into it. Now, if you guys don't know who Bryan Kohberger is, which I'm having a hard time dealing with his number because I don't remember it like I do BK, and when we're doing a live broadcast, it's hard to keep names, okay? Sometimes you're hearing yourself saying one name, yet another name is coming completely out of your mouth. It happens in a live show, okay? So Bryan Kohberger is accused of unaliving 4 University of Idaho students in their off-campus housing where they allegedly believe he broke into that home. Now, this has been a case going on since November 13th, 2022, and we're finally getting some insight into this this case. And one of the things is the body camera footage. We've got some body camera footage on that day. It's hard to watch for me, but we're going to watch it. And I also want to let you know that the Idaho State Police has dropped some documentation, including photos. I went through the photos. They're very benign photos. We are going to be going over the photos more in detail. There's nothing in there that's graphic. These are photos that don't appear to have even the drops of blood and stuff like that. They've removed all these. So it's just basically the outside of the house, the interior of the house, the lay of the land, even the video that's been released. Every room has been blocked. It's big black print. But you can hear, the frustration or just disbelief from law enforcement. We can't see law enforcement because at this time it's blacked out. They're in the rooms where obviously some graphic stuff is, but you can hear. You can't see anything, but you can hear the officers. And you can tell that this moved them. I mean, as it should, right? We don't want officers doing cases where they're desensitized, okay? When an officer becomes desensitized to the cases that they're covering, it's time to move on to a different field. Maybe in law enforcement. I'm not saying out of law enforcement altogether. It's just that now they're too desensitized to this that they might not be able to have that kind of crazy because I was watching Strategic Eyes, but strategic eye to detail. And no pun intended, but that's kind of how I feel. So we're going to get on to the video of inside the house. We're going to go over this document that's highlighted here. I've got that pulled up. It's quite lengthy, so we'll get through as much of that as we can get through. But we're going to watch this video, then we're going to move on to Emmanuel. And if for the people that wants to go over the Bryan Kohberger stuff, we will do that after we're done with Emmanuel. We're just going to give you guys the update that you need for now. And all this other stuff is just basically curiosity, okay? All of this stuff here is just for our knowledge. So if you guys would like to stay to the end of this so we can discuss and go through it line by line, you're more than welcome to. If you'd like to end after we're done with Emmanuel, have a wonderful day and God bless you guys. But before we go through all of this, this is the stuff that I want you guys to see. This has been released from Law and Crime. It just shows the officers pulling up to the house. I'm going to go kind of past that and get here. This is where they're around. They've already called in the unconscious person. Now that I see this, I now know that these beautiful kids knew at the time their friends were most likely deceased. I don't even think they were aware that Kaylee and Maddie were associated with this at that time, okay? Because the reason why I say that is because of how they're acting. They're very, very confused. You can tell something happened the night before. Why it took them, I'm still very unclear why it took them so long to call law enforcement, because these girls that were in the house were terrified. You could tell they were terrified. You could tell that they Dylan ran downstairs to Bethany's room and stayed there. Like, they were terrified. And they were calling all their roommates terrified. But I really, truly believe they thought this was a prank. In part, part of them was in shock and disbelief because, who would think that something like this would happen inside their home? So I think they thought that, I think a piece of them, even as messed up as everybody was, we all know they were all drinking and partying that weekend and, doing what college, I don't want people beating them up for that because they're doing what normal college students do. But they were terrified. And still that wasn't enough for them to, call law enforcement a lot earlier. So I still am not, too clear on why it took so long. Oh, thank you, Lisa B. Always. Thank you. I appreciate it. Keep up the great work at BHB. Much love to the coffee club. Oh, I love that. Much love to the coffee club. That needs to be our new little tagline. Much love to the coffee club. It rhymes. It rhymes. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. I don't know. But now we're going to watch this. I want you guys to see this. Again, this is Law and Crime. It's problematic for me. Okay. Everybody, the fear that you can just, it's hard on me for the kids. It's hard on me for the law enforcement officers. Even though we can't see what they're seeing, we know it's awful. We know it's, oh, hey, tap dancer Liz. One thing about social media, internet never forgets. It does not. It does not. Okay, guys, this is going to be hard. Like I said, there's nothing graphic in this whatsoever. But you feel it. You hear the officers. You know it's bad. You know it's bad. It's really, really bad. All right. Without further ado, you're going to see the officer. I'm gonna mute my microphone. I'm going to play this, but I am going to step away from I've got plenty to drink here, but I have to use the little girls' room. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing this, and then I'll get back. And then when I come back, we'll pause it and get caught up on what I missed. But this is just, he's going to be getting the, actually, I think you guys should watch the beginning part of this too, because that's where the kids right here, this is where you guys see the total fear of what these kids are going through. They blocked all their names out. I don't know which one's Bethany. I believe Bethany's the one that's wrapped in the blanket, and I believe the one right here in the green sweatpants is Dylan, but I'm not 100% sure. That really is just my assumption, and it doesn't have anything factual related to it. It's just an assumption of mine. Okay, I'm going to mute my microphone. I'm going to use the little girls' room, and then I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys, so you're not just sitting here looking at a blank screen.
Pretty much they were in the main room. I heard them dancing and laughing. Kaylee went upstairs and she screamed because someone was in the room. She ran downstairs, and I kept calling her name and she wouldn't answer. And then I saw the guy. I just locked the door, and then I ran downstairs. But we don't know what's going on.
Just come here. There's two. Looks like fatalities.
I heard her scream, and she ran downstairs because she saw someone. That's what I'm pretty sure she said. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. And then I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask that was just covering his forehead and his mouth.
Well.
All right. So now you guys see what I was talking about. Like, you could tell there was something. Oops, wrong one. You could tell that there was something where they were upset and saying, something happened. They were scared. They were terrified. Dylan ran down to Bethany's room. They didn't know what to do. So again, I'm a little confused why it still took so long to call law enforcement, but we're not going to beat them up. Obviously, something violent happened in that house. Obviously, they haven't had a need to be in fear for their life and almost frozen or in shock. Is it possible that both of them were in shock until the morning? Were they paralyzed type shock? Was it just that their brain couldn't function? Because shock, and when I say brain can't, it is shock that causes your brain just short circuits. I've had shock before, and I can tell you, you can't, like, nothing processes. It's just, you're blank. It's like you're knocking and nobody's home. Okay. I've been there. I didn't realize what it was. I've been there at least 2 times that I know of. I always thought it was one, and it was with my dog. I've told you guys about Layla, the gash on her. It was very shocking for me, but that wasn't the first experience. I went back and kind of did some soul searching, and I recall the first time I've ever had shock. And the first time I ever had shock was when I was about 12 years old and we were in a bad car accident. My mom and dad almost lost their life, had the my mom lost a part, she still can see, obviously, but she lost some of her vision as a part of that car wreck. My dad had lifelong injuries to his back. He's had back surgery or neck surgery, which has affected him a lot over his upbringing. Many people, if you don't know, my father was, and I think what kind of triggered maybe some of the problems we had is because of that injury, he had spinal damage. And sometimes when he looked up or turned his neck wrong, it would black him out and he would black out. Well, one time he had this incident happen while he was on a 30-foot ladder or a 20-foot ladder at a Nike store that he was wiring, and he fell on the top of his head. That caused, even though he didn't have hemorrhaging or anything like that, they sewed him up. Because of the head injury, it progressed Alzheimer's, or the stuff like that. So my father's been struggling with early onset Alzheimer's since he was in his 50s. And that has, obviously complicated things with our already complicated story. And so that's, there's reasonings for why things are the way they are, with my father and everything else. But it had to do with, injuries to the brain. Good morning, beautiful people. I will be listening. Oh, Phoenix Moons, it's nice to see you. Good morning. MGM, it is, did something new happen? Yes, we're going to get through that. We did talk about it. We're actually going to be looking at a couple of videos, but we'll get there. Let's go ahead and look at this, because these children are freaked out, but and like I said, shock is one of those things where it's like your brain short circuit. They were clearly upset this morning. I still question the length of time that it took to call law enforcement, but it is a little bit more understandable with the fear factor, the fact that you're in shock, the fact that your brain's short circuiting. Could they have just been so, oh, thank you, Pussy Willow Pinder Cat. Thank you. So, I keep wondering if that's what it was. We keep hearing this shock. Yeah, they were able to move, and I was able to move too. But I remember when I got out of the car with my parents and I saw the car, my body was like I was trembling. I didn't even realize that my body was shaking. Other people realized I was shaking because I was a young little girl and they're watching me just screaming and my whole body just shaking uncontrollably. And I couldn't think. I didn't know what just happened. I was fearful for my parents. I'm watching my parents being, taken out of this car and put on stretchers. I mean, you want to talk about, shock. That was pretty shocking. And I was in shock there. I just didn't remember it. It wasn't until I kind of did some, looking back in history on shock and everything like that, because the most remembered shock I had was when in my adulthood, when my dog got injured. So I do believe that they were exhibiting shock, because they still look like they're exhibiting shock, in my opinion. So this is very important stuff. But now we're going to be going into the home. And I want you guys to go into the home, because this is when the officer's walking up with the bag. If you guys remember, they called the person in as unconscious. We've already heard the 911 call. If you guys haven't heard it, you might want to go back into some of my Bryan Kohberger'S stuff. But we did go over the 911 call where it was Hunter, the neighbor Hunter, that made the call and basically said it was an unconscious person. And so they asked if they could do CPR, and they didn't have a defibrillator. So the officer that was pulling up did, and he opened the trunk to get his, medic bag out or whatever they send officers with. And he went out, and you can just hear that he knew as soon as he walked in, there was no way he was going to be able to help. And I have to think that this was Xana he was standing over.
Where's she at?
She's up closer. Yes.
Where at? Up here? Up here.
So if you guys remember, Hunter, God bless him, he kept the girls from seeing the horrid. He brought everybody out. He decided to go in to investigate. It sounds like one of the girls did as well and saw that this was not a good thing. And then when Hunter came over, it sounds like he made everybody leave the house and said, please call this in as unconscious. So how he was able to think, I've been dealing with law enforcement and all this other stuff for years. And I don't know if I would have been in that moment smart enough to call the incident in as an unconscious person. I don't know if I would have had the fortitude to do that. So this young man was bright enough to try to avoid the shock of this right away. I don't know how. Maybe it was just, maybe he doesn't even know where it came from, but it did.
Got a call from them that someone normal, and I just came checking in here, and this is what I just found. And I checked this user's breeder, and she's...
Oh, man.
But
That's got to be hard. That's got to be hard. That he's too young for that. He's too young for that, and he had to check her pulse. Good gracious. That's something this boy's going to carry with him the rest of his life. I pray to God he doesn't go into drinking or anything like that. It's something that'll suck him straight down to the bottom. But it's stuff like this that causes those issues.
I'm 13. Okay, get back. I don't know if they're still in here or not.
See, he knew. As soon as he walked in there and saw those, he said, get back. He said, get back. He needed him to get back. You can tell that the intensity of you can't see anything, but you can tell the intensity of the officer that's there. So let's go back just a little bit as they're walking in, okay? I want you guys to listen, if you need to, close your eyes. I need you to hear this officer. You hear it. You hear it in his voice.
And I checked this user's breeder, and I didn't check them yet, but I'm 13.
Listen.
Okay, get back.
See?
I don't know.
You heard him.
Him.
You heard him take a real deep breath, and he turned around and said, "Okay, get back." He knew, and it's sad because these folks here have already trampled on the crime scene a little bit because they didn't know what they were dealing with. They weren't intentionally trampling on the crime scene, but every time one of those officers came into that home, they trampled on the crime scene. And so I think it's important to tell you guys that because these are the stupid things that the defense attorneys try to use to get their clients off, is the contaminated crime scene defense, right? And so what they do, but no matter what, the officers have to clear that home. So that's why we can't, when they start talking about contamination of crime scenes, the minute that call comes into 911 and that first officer arrives on that scene and has to walk in that house to clear it or to look at that victim, they've contaminated that crime scene. Okay? So that's why you're like, oh my God, the crime scene was contaminated. Why didn't they take it off? Why didn't they move it? It's because every crime scene is contaminated to a degree. Okay? These are the things that people don't want to know, but it's the true fact of the case. All these cases, every last one of them, Alec Murdaugh, his case had contamination, because the minute something is brought into that wasn't there at the time, it is contamination, according to the definition. So when that officer walked in, he microscopically already contaminated the carpet, already contaminated the steps up the to the stairs. Hunter touching those cups ever so slightly as he's just moving his hand, that's contamination of those. So it's very common, okay, for contamination of crime scenes. Very common. But that's why they do such the forensic studies that they do, because they eliminate those things, that those foreign objects or foreign particles or whatever that are brought in from the officers. That's why they usually take their footprints. They've already got fingerprints for most of their officers on file. They have, they have all these things, so when they go in there, they can say, okay, this is Officer John Doe, right? And exclude that. So that's where all of that comes from. So I thought that was interesting. I thought I would explain the contamination, and as long as it's low level, like, just bringing stuff in from the outside because you got to walk through the carpet, as long as it's that kind of stuff, it really doesn't cause too many problems. However, say the officer went in there and saw Xana like that and lost his cookies, now we got a major contamination problem, okay? It's not uncommon to have that. It's a pain in the ass to deal with it. But even in that situation, it doesn't exclude the evidence that's provided or found.
1370. Okay, stay back there, please.
You can hear the intensity now. I'm sure they're not saying very, very kind words right now. This is not anything any officer wants to see. I will tell you. This is part of their job, okay? But this is not what they want to see. So if they do have beeps and you do hear an officer have foul language, I support their foul language, okay? Because I can't imagine that this is easy, especially since this is a small community. We know that they've been at this house. They've seen these girls lively and happy and normal students doing normal student crap that causes the officers to come out there. The officers didn't. They just want the kids to be safe. That's really they're in a university town. The officers out there are dealing with kids speeding. Kids running through stop signs. Kids being drunk. Kids doing stupid shit. Excuse my language, but these officers aren't here for a quadruple homicide. I'm sure these officers have connections with these people. I mean, look at Brett, the Brett Payne. He's been at the house. He had to dump their beer out. He did that because he cares about the well-being of them, not to be a jerk. This is hard. Let's keep going.
Let's slow down. Just come here. There's two.
So they're just finding out. He doesn't want to say too much because he knows Hunter's right there. He's like, slow down, because he knows that he needs to slow the officers from pouring in there because of the contamination aspect. We're now dealing with a crime scene. We now have to set this house up as a crime scene. We need to limit the amount of people that are coming in and contaminating that crime scene. So now he's holding this officer up. They're going to have a conversation, and then they're going to start going outside and pushing everybody off the property. Okay, they need these young folks off the property. So here, let me go ahead and drop this down here for you guys. Copy. So if you guys would like to watch this in its entirety, please go over there. If you guys don't want me talking over it, there's the link to watch it in its entirety. We are going to bounce around a little bit because there's certain things here, and it's a 52-minute documentary. I don't have time to go over this with commentary and to watch the entire thing. So it's up to you guys to watch it if you want to. But here we go.
Okay. Nobody's allowed to leave for now, okay?
Just stay here for me, please.
So now they know that this is serious. You know, nobody's allowed to leave. They have now detained, okay? When an officer comes out there and says, okay, now none of you guys are allowed to leave. You have been officially detained by law enforcement. Doesn't mean you're charged. It doesn't mean you're charged. It just means you're detained because now they have questioning. So now all these people have now been officially detained by law enforcement. So that's what that looks like. Now, guys, I want you guys to understand, they still haven't found Kaylee or Maddie yet. This is just 2 bodies that they found. He's going to go ahead and put this tape up. You're going to see it. Well, I'm going to pass by. They're going to go ahead and put this tape up, and then you'll hear the officer say, we need to clear the home. And so that's when their guns come out. That's when they go in and start walking the property and start clearing the home. So here's where the gun comes out, and now they are in the process of clearing the home because they need to shut the home down and get homicide investigators out there. And it's only now. And this is at 12:04. 12:04. So almost an hour later, they're about to find Kaylee and Maddie. And again, when we get there, I'm probably going to pause it and let you guys know you need to close your eyes and start listening, because you can hear a lot from these officers. You can tell that they have been moved by whatever they've just seen. Yes, it is.
Moscow Police Department, if you're in here, announce yourself. Moscow Police Department.
Okay, let me go. They're going to come back, okay? And we're going to stop it when they come back. Y'all, you can see Bryan Kohberger's shoe prints.
Going up there.
They're about to find Kaylee and Maddie right now. They're about to find Kaylee and Maddie right now.
Please start it.
We're on the 3rd floor, going up. We got another.
Got another one.
Moscow Police Department.
Dude,
2. And you hear him sigh.
House clear?
we're clear. Let me just secure the outside first.
Go to the front door.
There's a back entry. I was going to start taping it all off.
Brian's taping the outside off.
Okay.
Where's the other?
There are 2 right here.
So now he's taking them back up to show him the other 2. There's 2 up here. So there they are. Did you hear that? They're breathing very heavy. They are breathing very, very, very heavy. Very heavy. This is not what they want. You can prepare in this industry all you want, and you will never be prepared. They can show you in your training when you're at the academy, when you're going into this stuff. They can train you all they want, and it still never prepares you for seeing a child that you were just giving, threatening to give a ticket to for having open containers under the age of, under the legal age. Can you imagine? These officers don't want to see this crap. This is moving them. Did you hear how hard? I mean, they're sighing. I heard that man go. That took his breath away. It took his breath away. We may not be able to see what they're seeing.
House was cleared off. I got in there. Shut the door in there.
You can hear. They can't believe this. They absolutely cannot believe this. I had family that were cops. You're right, Betty. That stays with them. It absolutely does.
Check with the prints.
All right, here. Right there. You can see Bryan Kohberger's shoes right there. Right there. Right there. We know exactly where he went. Look at that. Right there. Out the back door, the sliding glass door was open. That he left it open. Right back there. That's how he walked. Right around this item right here. The screen on the other side of the house is out. I thought that's where Bryan went in when I first came to this house, and I was looking because they were so tight-lipped. They didn't tell us how the assailant got in. Clearly, we're seeing as soon as they walked into the house, and I saw the very first. I paused it, and you could see this door was cracked just like that. He never closed the door. He never closed the door when he left. But I always thought it was the window. I truly believe he tried to go into the window, but the window was locked, and he just happened to get lucky with the sliding door locked. Could they have stopped it? Did he use it? Did he use something to pry? I heard there was no forced entry, but I could be wrong. My dad was a captain at the police department for many years, and it does impact them very much. It impacts them, a lot of officers drink a lot. I mean, there's a self-harm rate in first responders and law enforcement as well. And I have to think that it has a lot to do with some of the stuff that they see that's ingrained into their brain that they can't shut off when they go to bed at night. There are just some things that scar your brain. There are just some things that scar your brain. There, look at those. Look at those shoe prints. Right out and around. We know his exact path. So he was up by this pole. He came down this way. Or he came down this way and just went out this way and back up. There's his footprints. Crazy part out is four people murdered inside this home in a matter of minutes, and it looks like a normal house. Like he literally caught them at their most vulnerable, at their absolute most vulnerable position. This house looks like it looked on any normal day. They were probably going to get up tomorrow and clean up all the beer cans and beer boxes and, get their ping pong, cups cleaned up, stuff like that. There was no struggle. Coming into this house, there was nothing out of the ordinary. This is probably that goes and bodes in with the whole, these girls must have thought this was a scary prank. And it's not uncommon for people to prank each other on these universities. And not only that, from what we learned from Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's dad, is they were pranksters. They were pranksters. This is probably not the first time Bethany or Dylan had the crap completely scared out of them at this university. And they probably thought it was a joke. They were probably, even coming down on themselves mentally, like, they're just fucking with us, we're going way over the limits here, nothing's going on, until they realized, oh my God, and that I'm sure that's when everything just started, just, you can see that they were very upset. And that was authentic. You can tell, like, with the next case we're going to be going over, which is Emmanuel Haro. Their parents are horrible actors because they were trying to act. These people weren't acting. This was all natural. This is your body reacting to a violent scene. You're shaking. You're uncontrollable, inconsolable. There's nothing you can do to stop you from concern. It just overwhelms you. Well, good morning there, sir. Good morning there, sir. Another man right now that's dealing with a lot. If you guys don't know who Seth Rogers is, he's missing his son, Sebastian Rogers. His son's been missing for well over a year. Sebastian Rogers was with his mother when he disappeared. Seth Rogers has been searching for his son ever since, alone, by himself. The mom and stepdad have not helped. And this case just keeps going on. He has no answers still to this day, has no answers about his son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Let's see if I got it. Where is it? Let me move this one. My face is pretty big on this screen. Let me take this off. Up. Sorry, I was trying to take that off. Where's my name? There we go. Those are the people that may have some answers in Seth's case, in Seth's son's case. It's just sad. It's sad. Too many cases. Entirely too many cases. If you guys don't know, please go over and sub up to Seth. He has a channel right now that's dedicated to his son, but once his son is found and brought home, he's going to be dedicating that channel to other missing children and victims of crime. And we like to say his name often. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So how sad. And so we do have a lot here. I did have an opportunity to go through the photos. Like I said, we did get photos. We did download the PDF. We did download the photos. If those of you that would like to stay and go over those, I can tell you the photos weren't really interesting at all to me because I'd already seen some of them already released from other mainstream media. But they do have the photos of Bryan Kohberger's car. And those are photos we haven't really dived into or reviewed at all. So I think those will be kind of interesting. We know that the car was squeaky clean. Thank you, Sonia. We know that the car was squeaky clean. He obviously cleaned the car well. He would have learned the skills to do what he did and clean up after himself due to his education. We're also learning that Washington State University was a little smarter than, the teacher that wrote the book on BTK, Dr. Rumsland, because even the school knew he was a problem, where a woman that studies and follows serial killers got no red flags whatsoever. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me, because the professors in his PhD program seem to have a problem with him. And they seem to have a problem with him forcing them to give him his PhD. The professors did not want Bryan in their class. They did not want him learning, and they did not want to give him a PhD. They knew he was going to be a predator. Yet the lady that studies predators got no red flags whatsoever. Again, got a problem with that. All right, guys, we are going to be getting on with the next case. And I'm going to play me on the next case. Because, I don't know, maybe I just like to see myself on camera. No, I'm just joking. This is the intro. I didn't load it up, so we're just going to do the intro from YouTube.
New information is being revealed on baby Emmanuel Haro. As you know, baby Haro, he went missing on August 14th. His mother described a brutal attack where she pulled into the Big Five sporting goods store to get a mouth guard for Eli, her stepchild, which was at a game at a local park. When she arrived at the Big Five parking lot off of Yucaipa Boulevard, she realized the baby needed to be changed, and before going into the store, she decided to change the baby. While she was at the back of the vehicle, somebody tapped on her shoulder and said, "Hola." When she turned around, she was punched and knocked unconscious. Nobody knows how long she was on the ground for until she came to, realized her son was missing, and she takes off into the Big Five store to see if anybody has seen her child and to get help for law enforcement to come out. When law enforcement arrived, they brought in the cavalry, canine dogs. They took the vehicle in for processing, and since that moment, they realized that things weren't making sense. Law enforcement approached the parents and started asking them questions. And then when they started getting inconsistent answers, they challenged them on those inconsistencies. And it resulted in Rebecca lawyering up. The weird thing is that it wasn't Rebecca's attorney that came to the public first. According to everything that we know, Jake also hired an attorney. Jake Haro is the father of baby Emmanuel, and he has a sordid past that has a history of violence toward young children, one that landed him in jail and left his child fully incapacitated and only using 3% of her brain. When Jake Haro's attorney came to the public, a lot of people thought that was odd, because law enforcement has been speaking about Rebecca and her inconsistencies with her story. Yet it's Jake with his attorney and his attorney being public, not speaking on Rebecca's behalf, only on Jake's behalf. However, the interesting thing is we now have some footage. We have video footage of what transpired out in front of the Big Five sporting goods store. Check this out. As you see in this video, somebody is walking quickly into the Big Five store. Shortly after, an SUV pulls up. Is this just a coincidence? Because nobody gets out of this SUV, although parked in the front parking lot. And then after it sits here for a few minutes, almost 2 minutes, with nobody coming and going, it decides to back out and leave. About 5 minutes later, you see law enforcement pulling in, and then shortly thereafter, you'll see a law enforcement officer walking into the parking lot. But remember, we still have not seen Rebecca walk out of that store unless she got into the white SUV. So that you have a perspective of what we're looking at, this is the store the camera was filming out of. And as we turn the camera over to the Big Five, you will start seeing the angle in which they were coming from right here.
And then right over there near the bushes and the fire hydrant is where she was parking her vehicle. So this is the lay of the land that you guys need to know about as far as the perspective of the video just shown. Many want to know why Rebecca lawyered up. If she was being presented with this kind of information, it shows she lied about the attack in that parking lot. And it's making everybody believe she did something, or Jake did something, to baby Emmanuel. When we look into Jake's history, we find a horrid past, one that has intentional infliction of child abuse onto a child. And again, this child was maimed for life because of that attack. And it wasn't just one, it was multiple attacks. Let me know your thoughts on this new revelation and new information related to the baby Emmanuel Haro case. If this was informative, please don't forget to show some love. Give me a comment, share this video, and of course, give it a heart or like it.
All right, so that's kind of, the intro going into this case. We're learning a lot out there at the Big Five. We've got several people really honing in on this case, period. We have we now know Cinema Shogun has now put his information, his research skills out there as well. If you guys don't know, he's fat and opinionated and proud to be it. So we've got 2 videos from him. One's from his Fat and Opinionated channel and one's from his Cinema Shogun channel. If you guys don't know who he is, you guys should sub up to him too. I've been watching him for several years. I don't think he's like a mega bullhorn Betty fan by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I think he may. I don't know if he's ever said anything negative about any content creator. I don't know. But I don't think he's a fan. Either way, I'm still a fan of him, right? It doesn't have to go both ways. I'm still a fan of him. And he captured some of, and the reason why I'm not going to Ahmed for this is because I like what Cinema Shogun says. That's why I'm putting his face up here and not just Ahmed. He's going to pull Ahmed's video and he's going to play Ahmed's video. But it's his commentary that I want to discuss. Oh, and he's lively. He's lively. So if you guys haven't here, let me go put this in here. Go over, hit his Fat and Opinionated up. Here's Fat and Opinionated right here. There you go. We're going to stop. So if you guys don't want, if you don't want me talking through his talking, then you're going to want to go over to his channel and watch it. And I recommend anybody that I show you on my channel, I think just as a duty of everybody here, if you should go watch these things in their entirety for themselves anyways on the content creator's channel, because the content creator, he created this. He deserves the click and the view for it. This is his content. I'm borrowing it, okay? So withhold the clicks and the views for me while I play his stuff. Thank you, Cinema. But again, go over and hit him up. And please give him, go over there and hit up some of the videos over there. Give him a thumbs up. Thank him for what he's doing. The whole thing. This takes people's time, takes time away from their families, away from their games, whatever the case may be. Thank you, Tanya.
Not know what happened to Emmanuel Haro. But there are some things that we do know. For example, we know that Emmanuel's parents went to the same Big Five sporting goods store.
That's right. The information we had about them coming back earlier in the week, for the, where they tried to see where the cameras were in the parking lot, said their car was broke into. Remember when we were listening to that and we're like, this is rumor, I haven't confirmed it. Well, Cinema Shogun confirmed it. And it's not a week before. It was earlier in the month, y'all. Earlier in the month. That doesn't sound like the week before. That sounds like earlier in the month. Okay? That means this child's most likely been deceased for a while.
You know, where Emmanuel supposedly got snatched. They went to that same location asking about security cameras earlier this month. So we don't know what happened to Emmanuel, but we know that after whatever happened to Emmanuel happened, Emmanuel's parents, Rebecca and Jake, came up with this plot to pull off a fake kidnapping in the parking lot of the Big Five. And before they pulled off...
And I will tell you, he's not, if you know anything about cinema, he's not going to come out here. He has no problem saying this is his opinion, this is what he heard. If he knows. If it's a factual statement, he going to tell you. Why? Because he's fat and opinionated. He doesn't really care whether you go and try to, because he knows his facts. So... I'm just saying, the man is not going to tell you that they were there and the information has been confirmed unless they were there and the information has been confirmed. So let's keep going.
Their big plan, they decided earlier this month to go check just to make sure that Big Five didn't have any security cameras showing the area of the parking lot where they were going to carry out this big act. Well, the only problem is, I guess Jake and Rebecca forgot to check all of the other businesses for security cameras, because we're now learning that there are at least 3 different cameras.
Boom! Y'all, I believe law enforcement has the whole thing going on out there. I think this is why. I mean, think about it. What could they have possibly said to this lady to make her lawyer up and end the conversation after they present, the way it was stated is they presented to her information to counter her inconsistencies, challenge her on her inconsistencies, and as soon as they challenged her on her inconsistencies, she lawyers up. They had to have came after her pretty hard. And I have to think, because law enforcement doesn't care, they got the cameras rolling. They want your authentic expression when they bring in the stuff, right? When they bring in the stuff, when they have these cameras, I bet you anything, they said, ma'am, can you look at this video right here? Can you tell me why you're pulling in and walking right out of your car and going straight in there? We can see you pull in here. Who's attacking you, ma'am? Where did this attacker come from? Because we're watching you right here. We're seeing you pull into this specific spot. We're seeing exactly what you're doing here. Can you tell me where your son is? I need a lawyer. Yeah, ma'am, I think you do. That's probably about how the conversation went. Because we knew, because of Ahmed, which is on here, that's why I said, fat and opinionated. He had some commentary, and I could have just came here and got Ahmed's stuff and had the same commentary, but I wouldn't be able to put Cinema Shogun up on my channel and have you guys go over there and sub up his channels if I just put Ahmed up there. I did Ahmed yesterday. Cinema Shogun's today. There's something going on out here, and what a shame, because these parents, they tried to cover their ass. They tried to do their due diligence, but they just weren't smarter than law enforcement or the average content creator, true crime content creator. Just sorry, they're just not. They're just not. Because we dive into everything. When we're out there, we're doing the same thing. Hitting the businesses, talking to the people, going to the sheriff's department, pulling anything that we can get our grubby little hands on that they'll be willing to release on any of the parents, any of the family. We go through the whole entire, when Olivia and I are out there on the scene, we go through everybody's life. Nobody is off the table. We go up to the law enforcement, we hand them over a credit card, we order our documents, we get our documents, we review everything. We talk to people, neighbors, knock doors, go to businesses. It's just like that. That's why whenever I see somebody out on the ground like this, like Ahmed, I promote them, because it's hard work. But when they're out there, they're going to get the information that mainstream media isn't getting. Why? Because mainstream media ain't knocking on these doors. Who's out there? Do you see Fox News behind him? Do you see News Nation behind him? No. What you see is Ahmed. And he's there with the people. That's how we're getting our information. We're not getting it from mainstream media, and I need people to start waking up. I love our mainstream media folks. They when we need documentation, they got the deep pockets to get it. When we can get mainstream media on board, we have some financial backing to get these cases forward, and get some documentation. Because when you order requests for documents, if there's hundreds of, like the little bit of stuff that I ordered from Moscow Police Department back in 2023, that cost us, this channel, almost $400. I think even more than that. I think maybe one check was $400, and there may have been another check after that I had to write I remember making 2 payments. So I don't even know how much that cost the channel. But these documents cost a lot of money for the request for production of documents and videos and body cam footage and stuff like that. They don't hand that stuff over for free. We have to pay for it. So when we have an opportunity where somebody's going out and getting boots on the ground, where we don't have to order this stuff that's going to cost us hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to get, this is pay dirt for all of us. And what this man is doing, he doesn't have to be out there and doing it. I just want to be very clear. He is. So we're very thankful for that. So if you guys have an opportunity to go over to Ahmed's channel, please go over to his channel, show him some love, give him a thumbs up, do what you guys do, because he's the one boots on the ground. He should be getting more views than any other content creator that's using his stuff. And if he's not, then it's up to the public to right that wrong. It's up to the public to right that wrong. All right, let's keep going.
From 3 different businesses pointing at this parking lot, law enforcement has the footage from these 3 locations, and there may be more cameras that we don't even know about yet.
Boom. And I believe that. I believe that there's a lot more cameras that we don't know about. Ahmed found, the first one he found that was pay dirt was the jewelry store. I think all of these other shops came after the jewelry store. I think he observed that parking lot, because that's what we would do. That's what we did in Layla Santinella. That's how there was woods all around that hotel, that AmeriCorps hotel. It said that she ran toward the woods. Well, when we got there, I looked at Olivia and I said, what effing woods did she go to? There's woods, literally, it's slap in the middle of woods. So her and I, we hadn't gotten out, because we always get the lay of the land before we ever ask it. Before we ever even get out of the vehicle or ask questions, we're driving around the area. We're taking note of different things, whatever the case may be. If it's an abduction, we're looking at possible areas of fleet. We're looking at a lot of stuff. So as we're driving, driving around the area to look, I said, you know what? This looks like the most probable. And so then we decided to turn around, go to the AmeriCorps. We already had our idea. Thank you, Joanne. It's nice to see you. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to become a subscriber. If you are here for the first time, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime, but we control our chat over here. It helps kind of keep the trolls down. So I have a mechanism that makes you subscribe to this channel, which is free. You don't have to pay anything to subscribe to my channel, but you have to be here for 20 minutes before you can communicate with chat. If this is the kind of content that you like, please consider subscribing so you can be part of our coffee club. And that's what we call ourselves. We're the coffee club, because we used to get up before the crack of dawn, which was almost this morning, to cover these cases for all the people that have early work schedules. We like you guys having some content and getting up to date with your information. So the first one was the jewelry store, and I think these, he decided to come here, and people have seen him out. They're willing to talk to him. That's what happens when they start seeing you and they realize you're there for the right reasons. People open up to you, and it happens very organically, because people, I think normally humans just want to help. In the grand scheme of things, just my personal opinion, I think when somebody is in need, I think we are taught to help. And I think that stuff just comes instinctually, because if it didn't come instinctually, then why would we have emotions, right? Why were we given these emotions that make us feel for other people if we're not supposed to feel for other people? So I think his just personality, him being out there, probably when he goes out there, people seeing what kind of content creator he is, and they just want to talk. They want to make sure that people know what's going on. They want to appear like they're helping too, right? I mean, nobody wants to look like the person that's evil, that doesn't want to help, in a missing baby case. You don't want to be that guy. Right? You don't want to be that guy. So I think just naturally people want to help. And I think naturally people want to know what really happened if they have the ability to get you in the know. Just my personal opinion. I could be off base, but I just think it is what it is.
But Ahmed has been out there. You guys have seen some of his clips I've shown you. He earlier was at an establishment right next to the Big Five, and they told him they got a security camera that just so happens to be pointing right towards the area where all of this supposedly went down.
Now, I want to just go back here. Now, I like Cinema's commentary, but I think this is a great angle, because when we see the blow up angle, we're seeing this area right here. Okay, that's the area right here that we're seeing on the camera. Okay? This area. So we're not seeing really the doors. We're seeing this area here. So we have to assume, like right where his microphone is, that has to be where that white SUV must have parked. Right there. So somebody should have gotten out of the car and went this way into the store. Somebody should have came out this way and went into the store from that white SUV. But nobody came out of that white SUV. It just pulled up here right after she's coming from this side over here and being picked up right here, moving quickly and hidden behind this right here. And into the doors to those. We caught that. That was in the intro video. But the problem I have is immediately after we see her, within a few seconds, we see this white SUV pull up. And I heard earlier on that the white SUV was theirs. And then I find out that their car was taken because their attorney said it. And so I'm starting to get confused. I'm like, well, everybody's saying that they took a truck. They took a truck. And I'm like, a truck? Did they have a pickup truck? And some people were like, no, it's an SUV or it's a different. And I'm like, so I'm very confused on one, what car were they driving? What vehicle was Rebecca in? Does somebody know definitively what vehicle she was in? I know they only have one vehicle. I just want to know the description. Is it a pickup truck? Is it an SUV? Or is it a car? Or a minivan? I think those are the only four options you have, minivan, car, SUV, and pickup truck. So what vehicle were they in? Let me go down to the bottom of my chat, because guys are probably answering that, and I'm way up further. They will speak to someone who looks like them. I don't think that necessarily is, because I can tell you I've been into a lot of communities and people from all walks of life that want to help, and they come up and talk. The only time we have a problem is Spanish speakers, because I don't speak Spanish. But that's been always the luxury we've had with, Olivia and I gal palling all throughout the United States, is her mother is from Cuba. So she speaks fluent Spanish. So we've never had an issue where we couldn't communicate with somebody while we've been out on the road. So people always talk to us. We never really had anybody not talk to us that wanted to tell their story. I've been successful in all kinds of communities because people see you. And when they realize you're there to help, they want to help. That's just human nature. They may not trust you when you get there, but they watch you. And they see what kind of person you are, When the cameras are turned off, they're still looking at you. So, you know, they people want to help. I think human nature, I think anybody that could help is going to want to help. Just my personal opinion. But now that we kind of see this whole situation here, and we're kind of seeing this as being the angle of the camera and the coming in, and we see that the person's walking. It was Ahmed that said that she parked way over here, and when we looked at the parking lot, that is just the place where Ahmed said she parked is an odd place to park, because he said she parked over by those bushes. Why would she park over by those bushes when there's a plenty of parking spots in the parking lot, the main parking lot? Or why didn't, if she needed to go to the Big Five, everything we saw, every single one of those parking spots were open at the front of these are all parking spots here, folks. These are all parking spots. And she said that it was an emergency, that they needed this mouth guard right away, no? Oh, thank you, Melanie. That they needed this mouth guard right away. So why is she parking far away with a child that she has to pick up and carry in? Wouldn't it be more probable that you're going to park as close to the front door as possible, especially in light that you have a 7-month-old baby that you got to truck around? I mean, there's so many people. I go to the local Walmart, and people are fighting for those parking spots right by the door. And you're going to tell me she's going to park out in BFE in this parking lot? Come on. Come on. Oh, thank you, Love Bug. Didn't she say their car just broke into that parking lot, so she went right back to it? Shauna says, didn't she say their car just got broken into that parking? That's what Cinema had just talked about earlier. We had been learning, part of that is true. So he's confirmed this. Originally, many people thought that they were just there the week prior to. What Cinema Shogun just understood and found out and confirmed for us is that they were there earlier in the month. Earlier in the month, not the week before. So that tells me that they were there, you know, more than a week. So I don't know what that means. So where... I don't know where they were for that, or if there's any video footage of them being there. But it was originally told to us that just a week before they were at that store telling people that they broke in and finding out that there's no cameras in the parking lot. I think they went in there and said, look, our car was broken into. Do you mind if we get can we see your footage from the parking lot? And I think they were going there to see what angles the footage is under the guise that they were broken into. But when they found out that there was no cameras in the parking lot, that's when they thought, okay, this is a great place. So they were casing the joint. And it sounds like Rebecca was right next to him then, too. It seems like Jake has this this ability to find the biggest pieces of garbage for women to date that, compliment him. Because normal women would not put up with this. Normal women would not allow their child, even this officer's wife or girlfriend with the 6-month-old, she was hesitant on taking their child to the doctor because of her husband being a police officer, but still her good judgment overrode her fear. And then she finds out that her son has a brain bleed by the police officer father. And he was hell-bent on her not taking that child because he knew what was going to happen, because he knew what he did. He knew it was a chargeable offense what he did to his son. He knew it. And so do these people. And Rebecca was right there, right along with him throughout all of this. Throughout the death of her son, the setting up of a hoax to cover up the death of her son. This is no mother. This is a monster. Only a monster could do something like that. Only a monster. Rebecca's no victim. Every aspect of this case with related to a hoax or cover-up, she was right there with Jake. Although I believe Jake's the violent one, Jake's the one that most likely unalived this baby. But it's Cinema Shogun's next... was it Cinema Shogun? No, I think it was Strategic Eyes. I think I was watching Strategic Eyes. I think it was Strategic Eyes that said this, not Cinema Shogun. And he says he does not believe that this was a... his assessment, which I just found out this morning, I liked his commentary. I kept hearing him say probative, and I started thinking maybe he's an attorney. And then come to find out, I don't know how I didn't see right under his name that says, true crime with strategic eyes or whatever. It says, law enforcement, detective, whatever. But I finally found out this morning Strategic Eyes is an active officer that does these true crime shows on his own time. And he doesn't, he identifies himself as an officer, a detective. But other than that, he really keeps that aspect of his stuff out of the show, except to explain that he does have expertise in investigating and stuff like this. And, many of us, like me, I believe that Jake just, went off the hinge and beat this baby because the mom is exhibiting domestic violence. She seems like a battered wife. I still believe that, no matter what my assessment of the mother is. We're just learning more about the mother as well. Especially SV detective, yes, Lisa B. always. And so he gets to see a lot of ugliness of society as well. And probably the most, he has to deal with the children's stuff as well. That goes right along into that, Lisa. So I'll put that up there so people can understand what I'm speaking of. And he says his opinion differs from mine. And I value detectives' opinion. It's just their expertise, just like Jennifer Coffindaffer. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone or it's going to be exactly this way. It's just their experience, which they have more experience in this type and more hands-on experience in this type of stuff than, say, we do. Even though we do a lot of studying, we try to be just as competitive with knowledge and stuff as them, and that's due to a lot of reading, work, covering this kind of stuff. But we always value our law enforcement opinions on here. And so when I'm listening to Strategic Eyes, he brought up something, and I thought, you know what? It does make sense. It does make sense. He says that he doesn't believe that this was just, a rage that just ended up losing his life. He started going into, where we see photos of this baby moving, when they're laying on their back, they're stretching for the skies, moving around, looking like they've got activity, they're happy, the baby was smiling, didn't have a lazy eye, functioned like a normal child. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these videos where the child's just laying there and it looks like the child's checked out. We believe that child had already had brain damage before he lost his life because of his father. So Strategic believes that this child just succumbed to all of the injuries, that his poor body just gave out. That's what Strategic Eyes thinks. Yeah, the shaken baby, all of this stuff, all goes into this. But his opinion, and probably based on some experiences he's had, and yeah, they did bring up the shaken baby syndrome. We're not disputing what could have caused this, but what he says is that this was progressive, that this happened so many times to this child that he believes that, and quite frankly, that's what we learned about the 10-week-old, right? There were several broken bones in different stages of healing. So that means that child was a battering ram every time the parent had a bad attitude. That child was abused. And because that child is so fragile, that child started getting I can't even imagine a poor little baby with broken. It angers me. Like, these people do not want me in California. I can promise you that. I would be respectful of the neighbors as much as I could, but you know what? This is a freaking 7-month-old baby. I love people. But I'm telling you, there's reasons why I say, even if I had the money, this would be one I'd have to pray over, because I'd have to check myself before I ever got off the plane in California. And I'd have to check myself very, 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 very well, because Quentin Simon was rough on me. I will tell you that. That story was rough on me. I brought my anger to that street. And we didn't break the law. There were people that did, but we did not. And I've got to tell you, that was hard on me. And we were calm out there until we weren't. Then our voices became raised. Then we started, Leilani wanted to come out there and taunt people. Like, that girl, she's lucky I said some of the things that I said. She's lucky I said some of the, because what I wanted to do to her was a hell of a lot more graphic than what she did to her son. But it doesn't mean you can act on those things. But this is a 7-month-old child. That was a 20-month-old child, and that was rough on me. This is a 7-month-old child. Like, you'd have to check this is emotional. This is emotional. And the only thing you can really do in a situation, if I was out there, I'd have to read the law every morning that I woke up. I had to make sure I reminded myself of that, and even when I'm talking, I always have to remind myself of the law, because I have to keep myself in check when I'm out there, because it's easy to lose your cool. It's easy to lose yourself in the emotion of it. Like, if they came out and said something to me, you only have your words. You can't act on it. You can't go up there and grab them by the hair of the head and treat them the way you truly feel, right? You can't do that. You just can't. You're not going to subject yourself in being the type of animals that they are. But these people are lucky, and they are very fortunate that they have this man on my screen right now, and I would have treated everybody, all the workers and stuff like that. I'm talking about the family themselves, these pieces of crap that think they can hurt and injure babies. They're the ones that wouldn't want to see my wrath. They're the ones that are lucky that he's out there running this story. Because I would be camped up in front of their house with my camera going, and if I had to stand there in silence, I would have that whole entire road in front of their house with signs. If you see something, say something. No justice, no peace. We would be doing something. So I'm thankful that he's out there. It's keeping everything nice and calm and cool and collected. And, Bullhorn Betty's over here in Florida in her house, keeping everything nice, cool, and collected. But, this case angers me, and the parents are lying, and they got caught lying. Now we know why Jake's attorney came out, because he's screwed. Jake Haro, whether they find this baby or not, he is screwed. And I've already started putting my feelers out. I was called a racist, by the way, again. Some idiot on here, some twat on this platform, thinks that if somebody's here illegally and harms a 10-week-old baby, that it's racist to want them to be picked up by ICE and shipped back to wherever the flip they came from. It's racist now to advocate for a 10-month-old baby. If this man here is illegal, I want an ICE detainer on him today. If you want to call that racist because I care about a Hispanic 10-week-old baby that's now 7 years old with only 3% use of their brain, then by God, call me racist. If that's what makes you sleep better at night. I still want the asshole locked up. How about that? Sorry, not sorry. There are some sick puppies out here on these streets. Sick, vile puppies that protect these animals and call people racist that want just justice and safety. Well, I got a lot of words for you that I can't say on my channel, but this should sum it up. You can take your racism and take it and shove it where the sun don't shine. I don't care if you're screaming racism out of your mouth until the cows come home. Does this face look like it gives a damn about what you think I am? Because if I was truly racist, I guess I wouldn't even care about the 7-year-old child because she's got brown skin. You guys are idiots. 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 All right, so let's keep going.
Went down, where Emmanuel was allegedly kidnapped. And I think he has the security footage. I think they actually sent him the security footage. Let's listen to what he has to say really quickly, and then I'll be right back with more.
I got the video. I got the video. I got the video. I have a 1 minute and 17-second video.
He was very proud because you know what? Nobody's telling us, we don't know what's going on. We feel like this woman's story is bunk, right? We feel like her story is bunk. We feel like she's a hoaxer. We feel like that something happened to her son. And nobody is bringing the receipts. Ahmed's bringing the receipts. We now know. We don't have to think, is her story a lie? We don't have to assume her story is a lie. We know her story is a lie. We know. We don't have to assume. And it's because of this man here. And he's proud of himself for getting that video. I'd be too. Like I said, I hope this man gets the shot of them getting arrested. I really do, because he worked his butt off. It's not that I don't want mainstream media getting it, but you know what? Mainstream media gets tipped off by all their sources and all these federal departments. So, us true crime content creators, we have to work for it, okay? We have to work for it. This man worked for it. I hope he gets it. I do.
From an establishment in the vicinity of where the Big Five was, it does show a white SUV pull up at the time. The timestamp on the video is...
See, he's even saying something's with that white SUV. There's something with this white SUV. Like I said, these Betty, did you hear... Hold on, what did it say? Did you hear yesterday on Dolly's Live... YT in front of Haro'S? There was a Bullhorn Betty look-alike with a sign and a bullhorn. I thought it was you. I can tell you nobody's ever going to be like me. But you know what? They complained about who I was for so long, and now every single one of those people want to be like me. They want to show up at people's houses with the bullhorn. Okay? There's only one, but I appreciate all the help that comes out there, and you know what? I can't be there. So if there's a woman out there with a bullhorn, God bless her. If there's a man with a blonde wig out there with a bullhorn, God bless him. God bless the bullhorn, okay? God bless the bullhorn. There's a few of us out there, and I can tell you we are condemned as all get out, but you know what? I don't care. If I sat here and worried about what everybody thought about me, I wouldn't be living. You like me, you like me. You hate me, you hate me. There's a block button for that, okay? Get a dose of the block button. You never have to see my ugly face again. I'm just saying. But trying to change me, or make me talk different, or make me say something different, or make me not come with my truth, you're wrong. I stand on my hill. I don't care about public pressure, because I bring public pressure. If I can't handle the public pressure I bring, then what am I doing here? You don't have to support everything. You don't have to like everything. But it comes from a good place. It comes from a good place.
It's 7:44. Rebecca called at 7:47, I believe. The police call was made at 7:43 or 7:47.
We know that the call was made at 7:47. So when you put that in conjunction, she's walking into the store at 7:46. By 7:47, they're making a call to the police officers and the white SUV is pulling up. This white SUV, yeah, Dolly and I were friends. He never left his house. He was just a douche that stayed behind his freaking, camera. And we started pulling him out. He wanted to be boots on the ground. I showed him the ropes, and he turned on me and called me every name in the book. He's, people have their opinions of people, but people that act like that shows character. That shows class. That shows integrity. And when you treat somebody like that has never done anything wrong to you before in your life, then you know what? You guys can watch him. I got nothing for him. Okay? There's not an apology. I mean, I would forgive him if he actually apologized for what he did. But he will never apologize. He sits there and screams about baby Jesus, but he acts like a piece of shit. So, to each of all you guys that like watching Dolly, watch Dolly. That man's unhealthy. He's gained a host of weight. I went and watched him. You guys need to be worrying about his health. Like, I actually gave a damn about who he was, about our friendship, and about his health. But you know what? You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, and it doesn't look like he's very happy or healthy. So there is that. So his life quality has gone down. Just FYI. And so has his commentary. His view's been up, but he's turned into nothing short of a roach channel. So he used to not be like that. He would never, ever intentionally try to injure an innocent father of a missing child like he did Seth Rogers. You guys should go see what he did to Seth Rogers. An innocent father of a missing child. That will change your opinion of that guy real quick. But hey, to each your own. I refuse to watch him. I refuse to watch him. So, Jax, just subscribe. Well, thank you. Thank you for the subscriptions.
Video starts 3 minutes before the kidnapping, allegedly. There is one man in...
3 minutes before the alleged kidnapping. The video started 3 minutes before the alleged kidnapping. Wow. 3 minutes for the alleged kidnapping. So they had the whole thing. Law enforcement saw her pull up. I guarantee what we're dealing with here is law enforcement saw them pull up. Law enforcement did not see her get attacked. And law enforcement saw her prepare herself as she was running into the store to scream her son was missing. I think this is why, law enforcement decided to come public with it. It's like so bad that, and they're still lying to law enforcement. I think they're like, okay, well, if you're going to keep playing these games, then we're just going to take this public and you can deal with the public. Like sometimes law enforcement does use us. Okay, don't ever think they don't. I know for a fact that they do. They will use the public for pressure. And the social media world will apply that pressure. Especially when it comes to a 7-month-old child. But I don't think law enforcement wants the heat of the true crime community over a 7-month-old child. I'm telling you, that would be pretty intense. Sumner County has, we were actually fairly nice to Sumner County. The gloves will be coming off at some point. They're going to drag this out as long as possible. But trust me, my mind will never let me live without making sure that we advocate properly for Sebastian Rogers, since law enforcement seems to have forgotten him and forgot who the fuck they work for. Excuse my language. Forgot who they work for. And it's we the people.
In the video, but it doesn't show any baby. And 2, I'm gonna post a video. I'm driving right now and I did chemotherapy today and steroids. And so my mood is all over the place. So
he keeps a positive attitude with it. Okay, I'm sorry. How can you not like this guy? He's going through like the biggest battle of his life. And he's still out there caring for this child and wanting the truth. I want you guys to really think about that. All those naysayers out there. This man is going through the most difficult time in his life. He is fighting for his life himself. He's fighting and battling cancer. And he's out here doing for another person he doesn't even know about. I don't know where you come from, but from where I come from, that sounds like a great person. Their character, integrity, and class. We just stripped all those away from Dolly. Well, we just give it to him, okay? We just give it to him. Because he's doing what it takes. He's doing what it takes. And not only that, you know, I mean, if you listen to the crowd, like I'm done. I'm not going to pick a fight with Dolly. That fight's done and over with. He doesn't really matter. You guys do you.
Oh, please forgive me. Ana Tira, I have the video in my possession. In my possession. In my possession. It is a little grainy because we are back in 1995. This episode has been brought to you by the letter 3.
1996. Apparently they must do what he's trying to say is that they got old cameras, okay? If you guys didn't get what he was saying, they got old cameras, okay? Those cameras are probably something ancient, and that's what he's dealing with here. So it's not, you know, it's not 2025 footage where you can see the pimple on the tip of somebody's nose, okay? This is where you kind of get to see, you know, you can see the figures, but you can't make them out, okay? That's the kind of quality we're dealing with here. All right, so you guys got to see that. We've already seen the video footage he's talking about. It's like the 10-minute video of where we see her skimping over to the front door, and immediately, right as she gets into the front door, a white SUV pulls up. I am being told, and I've been very hesitant. You guys know I asked about this yesterday because it's a white SUV. We've been hearing a lot about this white SUV. We heard that their truck was taken. I don't know if it was a white SUV. I don't know. But it seems like that white SUV is associated with whatever's going on there. Because it pulls up right as she walks through the door, which was odd, and we noticed it right away. Actually, we didn't even notice her walking in. At first, the only thing we did notice is the white SUV, and we kept like, is the white SUV her? I'm not seeing anybody getting out. I'm not seeing anybody run. Why would she drive up to the front door but be parked over on the side? You know, a lot of things were going through, so we ended up walking through, and then we ended up going back, and you could see the black dot going. I'm like, oh, there she is running, and so we did finally see what we were supposed to see, but it took a minute or two to kind of understand what we were looking at. It was the first time we were seeing it. We were all seeing it together. Somebody had sent it to me. I think it was the Real Me Too had sent it to me while we were live. So literally we were all seeing it at the same time. And so I think it was like the second or third go through with it, we started realizing, okay, this black dot that's moving is Rebecca. And then it's like, okay, who's this car? And then we realized the car is law enforcement, and then we see the law enforcement officer get out. I also watched Matt Thibodeau, and he did one where he could see a head down at the bottom. So it looks like potentially she did not come out of the store the same way she went into the store. So it looks like we only have that one angle to the side. You don't even get any of the door, the big 5 door in it. You just have the pillar there and the little strip of sorry for hitting the mic, a little strip of pavement that you see her walking by as that SUV is kind of pulling up. So it was really odd. It's almost like they were trying to, you know, make it, you know, she's left the baseball field. She went up to the big 5. It sounds like they must have been there. I keep wondering if Eli's mom was at practice with him, or if she came to go pick Eli up since she knew that the stepmom and father were going to be there. I would like to know that, because it sounds like from everything I learned from Strategic Eyes, listen to this, as of August 19th, 2025, Isabel has approached the courts for a restraining order. Did you guys hear me? According to Strategic Eyes, the video that I watched this morning, which I believe was from last night, or 17 hours, probably 20 hours. Yeah, so it had to have been from yesterday. He finds out that Isabel has approached the courts and filed for a restraining order. He had the docket. He showed the receipts on his show, so it's not, you know, just
a rumor at this point. He showed the information. Beth says, BHB, I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard the white SUV. I knew it. That's what I was trying to get to, is I believe the white SUV is his ex-wife's. And how strategic they were, because that's what makes me believe his ex-wife was, like, I don't understand how his ex-wife didn't know how long she was gone for, Rebecca was gone for. I almost feel like they were out there with Eli by themselves, and then the mom came to pick up Eli, and he's like, oh, my wife has been gone for, an hour. Do you mind taking me up to the Big Five? And, she's on there, saying, I just pulled up. And he's like, oh, we're coming up now. Go ahead and go on in. And she gets herself together and walks in. And by that time, they're already there, because they're only 4 minutes down the road. So how ironic is it that she's walking into the Big Five the minute that her husband and his ex-wife are pulling into the front of the store? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And then we have this guy here that has the video that basically blows the entire mom story of the abduction and the brutal attack, just blows it out of the water. It doesn't exist. It never happened. It never happened, folks. So this is Cinema Shogun. If you guys haven't, we were just watching his other channel, which is Fat and Opinionated. I like him. He keeps your attention, and he kind of just, he does a lot of research, and he keeps it all straight. He keeps it all straight. So here's his commentary going into this. If you guys have not, the first one was Fat and Opinionated. Sub up to that one. This is his main channel, Cinema Shogun. If you've never heard of him before, you will like him. He covers a lot of stuff. If you're into celebrity news as well, he does a lot of different things that I think people... I only pay attention to him when it's true crime related, because that's really the only thing that I'm really interested in. It's my only job I have outside of my political leanings and stuff like that. But it is what it is. But I don't know what he typically does during the day, but he seems to always have good research. I don't know. If you like that, then sub up to him.
Pray that I'm wrong, but it looks like my suspicions may be true. It looks like Emmanuel may have been gone for weeks.
All right, guys. This is the most heartbreaking photo of him ever. Okay? This is the one that every time I look at, it almost brings me to tears. Even here, just looking at his face here. This is the photo that brings me to almost tears every time I see it, because this is the one photo that I truly, truly, truly believe where he is just so miserable and unhappy. And it's just all over this poor baby's face. And it kills me. It kills me every time I see this photo. This is the one photo that bothers me the most. The other photo is the one that you guys, that's being passed around, where you see the perfect fingerprints under his armpits, like he's been shaken. These sick. Anyways, that photo, he looks absolutely terrified, like he had just gotten beaten. His eyes are like he's looking like this, like he looks terrified. This, he looks so sad and just doesn't know what to do. Like, these are the things that I'm a human being, okay? When I see this kind of crap, it unnerves me. It pisses me off. It angers me. It angers me. It angers me.
Weeks now, because I posted a video over on my other channel, Fat and Opinionated. Go subscribe over there as well. We have video of Rebecca, Emmanuel's mother, at a funeral on the 5th. Emmanuel nowhere in sight. Also, the rumors are true. At least according to the Big Five employees, they say that it's true. Rebecca and Jake came to Big Five previously, asking about security cameras, claiming that their car got broken into.
This is it. So this is the new information. One, is this fact or fiction that they were there a week? We could not, we could not confirm one way or another. He has now officially confirmed by Big Five employee, that yes, this incident did happen. However, the timing was off. So I'm going to take it back and give it back to Shogun.
So those rumors are true. But the Big Five employees said that that happened earlier this month. Now, earlier this month could mean any day. But when I hear someone say earlier this month, I usually assume that, oh, that must have been a couple of weeks ago, right? At least over a week ago. Now, if they were coming in asking about security cameras earlier this month, that means they were already plotting. That means Emmanuel was already gone.
And that's the point. He was already gone. He's been gone for a while. She already had the black eyes. She had the black eyes. This is the photo, the one you see right there. If you look right here, there are perfect fingerprints under this child's arm. Am I on the right one? Hold on. Maybe I got the wrong. Sorry, I have to worry about my, I have two cursors when I'm doing this, so I got to make sure I got the right one working. So right there, you see perfect handprints like this child was shaken. Look at the terror on this child's face. Look at the terror on this child's face. I have one that he looks so freaking miserable and unhappy, and another one that looks like he's absolutely flippin' terrified. I want to, you know what? I wish I was the one that put that black eye on this lady. I know it's hyperbole, but sometimes that crap just wells up in you. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? It's anger. I don't know anything. Like right now, I'm not even sad anymore. I'm angry. I'm angry, and I want these insufferable people off the street. I want them to feel what it sounds like to have a freaking cell closed behind them. That's what I want. How dare them?
So this is worst case scenario, because if they got this much of a head start on investigators, it's going to make their job that much harder. Now, we know investigators have a lot of footage. They got hours and hours of footage from various different angles, various different locations. SF Investigates was in the area, and he showed...
We call that man an unscrupulous PI, which brings me up to another thing off topic. If you guys know of him or his behaviors on or offline related to how he acquires information on missing persons cases, if you know firsthand knowledge of any type of misrepresentation of him, his license, how many people, At Night, One World, which is the parent company for At Night Creative Intelligence, are seeking information because he's an unscrupulous PI. He's done terrible things. He's conned a lot of families. He says he's this pro bono guy that helps these families, but then has them cough up hundreds to thousands of dollars. So I have no, in Law and Crime keeps putting them on their show. One day when I have an opportunity to speak to the producers at that show, which I will, I'm going to present them everything I've got on the man, from everything he's done to me, Nothing else, just my personal experience. If they still want to use him, I hope they never call me for anything, because I will know, I mean, we'll play their stuff on the show, but I will never give them any time of mine. And I know I travel this country a lot, and I have a hell of a lot more to offer than an unscrupulous PI.
Some security cameras that are on a jewelry store next to the Big Five. So we know that Rebecca is caught on camera in the parking lot, but there's another business next to the Big Five. And Ahmed, he was in the area, and he started asking the employees of this business if they have a camera, and they say, yeah, but it doesn't really show much. It only shows this small part of the parking lot. Well, folks, guess what? It turns out that their security camera, it does only show a small portion of the Big Five parking lot, but it shows the portion in question. It literally shows right where Rebecca's vehicle was at. Now, we haven't...
And again, we have footage. Law enforcement has come to the public. They have let us know that there is, there's inconsistencies. We didn't know what inconsistencies they were, but it's coming down to all these cameras because they tried to do their due diligence. They tried to be smart. They tried to pick out a location, and they tried to figure out how they were going to cover up this crime. And so part of that due diligence is making a theft to find out if there's any cameras in there. They were very clever, and it shows how cunning, how truly cunning, not only Jake is, but also Rebecca. We are no longer going to be speaking of Rebecca any differently than Jake. She allowed her beautiful boy to be brutalized because she is a desperate woman, because she's ugly, and she thinks her man means more to her than her child, because he's a good-looking guy, and she's never going to be able to get another man like him. Let's be honest, that's usually what it is. Do I truly think she's ugly? No, but I know that's how she feels about herself, because what other woman would allow a man to do this? She has to be pretty freaking low on herself to allow this to be her future. And honey, I'm going to tell you, I hope that man was worth it, because I'm going to help make sure that you never breathe air again. Not on the outside of the world. Not like the civilized rest of us. The only way you're planning on getting out of this mess is if you open your mouth and you get a plea deal. That's it. Because to be honest with you, if there was DP in the state of California, I would like to see you have to deal with those consequences. And I'm speaking to Rebecca Haro. Rebecca Haro. The Bullhorn Betty channel, we believe in DP. We believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. As a matter of fact, I'm such a barbaric woman. And people know that come to this show. I'm such a barbaric woman that I want you to go out the exact same way you took somebody out. That's how barbaric I am. I am truly an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So when I hear these things, and I hear that a child has been, only 7 months old, we already know history has repeated itself. So we have to anticipate everything that's happened to these other children in Jake's life happened to Emmanuel. That means that 7-month-old child has been abused multiple times severely. Multiple times severely. That poor baby went through more abuse than many of us adults have. That poor baby probably dealt with more broken bones than we have. That is not okay for me. That should not be okay for you. And anybody calling anybody racist because they want somebody like that out of our country, you are part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Just saying. Because I never want to see these two people again. And I damn sure do not want to see them or hear about them being able to sleep in their comfortable bed and eat home-cooked meal when they should be getting the slop that's served courtesy of the California State Correctional Department. I was thinking about that, Shauna, because many of you guys know I don't have biological children. I have stepchildren, step-grandchildren. I'm not able to have children. I pray to God, maybe one day that'll be a mistake. It might be when I'm 42, 50, or excuse me, I'm past 42 now, 52, 62, whatever. I have a funny feeling I'm going to have a surprise in my future. I hope not. Not like that, but I hope so, God's gifts. But it angers me that I was not blessed with children that I would have valued, taken care of, much like my dog is spoiled, okay? Have you guys seen Delilah? She's fat and happy. She's not mean. She's a lover. Why? Because she's only been shown love. She's only been shown love. But yet, so many people, even when I was out in front of Leilani's house, there was another lady that came up. She wanted to be a mom too. Her body didn't work for her either. And can you imagine how hard this is for women that honor and cherish babies and children, and we can't have them, yet somebody that can have them brutalizes them and don't even understand what a precious gift they're given? It angers the woman in you. It angers you. It angers you to your core. That there are so many people out here that don't have children that would have given baby Emmanuel the most amazing life, and his punishment was death for being a baby. That's heartbreaking, y'all. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know what your walk has been, but that's heartbreaking. And I have to think that the reason why every single one of you guys are here in my chat is because it has pulled you in on an emotional level. You want justice for this child. You want to know what happened to this child. And you are sick and tired of hearing these horrible, violent people getting these low charges, these high charges, but getting low sentencing. 6 months for maiming his child for life. She will never be able to have an education. She will never be able to have a home of her own. She'll never be able to be married or have a family. Even when the beautiful people that took her in, they perish away, she's going to be forever somebody else's responsibility for the rest of her life because of the hands of Vanessa and Jake Haro. And they got 180 and 120 days work release collectively, or each, respectively. That was a miscarriage of justice in and of itself. If he would have been charged and convicted and sentenced appropriately for his crime, baby Emmanuel would have never been born, let alone been abused to death. But this time, the secrets of California have reared their ugly head. And now you don't get to do that with the next case. Why? Because we, the people, have now stuck our nose in it. And when these people are arrested, they are going to be convicted, and they are going to do the rest of their life in jail. And anything less than that, California, is a miscarriage of justice. And I would say you've got a problem with leadership in that state. Just saying. Just saying. So, if you guys finally get to meet Cinema Shogun, Fat and Opinionated, please go up to both of his channel. What a great job he did in collecting this information. Ahmed, as always, thank you for your contribution to this case in the true crime community. And we will keep bringing together
We will keep bringing information about this case to our audience. So please, guys, go over here, give thumbs up to Ahmed, give him some words of affirmation. That reminds me, Sonia, I need 3 names, please. I need 3 names texted to me. Guys, we're giving away a Bullhorn Betty hat today. As you guys know, every week we come through here. If we can get to our goal, and we get to our goal in any show, then we will give the giveaway item. But if we do not get to our goal, it moves on to the next day. Hold on, honey bunny. It moves on to the next. Okay, well then come up here and say hi. Come on. Thank you. So then the next day we do the same thing. If we meet the goal, we give away the item that's stated to give away. Okay, I'll get to the poll too. Thanks. But by Friday, and we do this maybe twice a month. I just started doing it, so it might go down to once a month. It might go down to twice a month. We'll play it by ear and see what the channel is able to do. But then the Friday, when I run those, the Friday we give away the item. So we have not met our goal at all this week, but we did raise money. So I don't want to be a taker and not a giver. So even though we didn't meet our goal on any specific day, I think we met our goal to give away the hat. So without further ado, let's do the poll right now. So the poll, if you guys did not get a chance to do the poll, we had 651. The question, it goes back to the Idaho 4, and it says, what is your appetite for crime photos? Should they be confidential? And the responses was that it should be, public has the right to know. It should be up to the family. We should never learn about death. No one has the right to know. So according to our poll, it was the one that pulled out the highest. Let me just go ahead and end the poll so everybody can see it. The one that ended up pulling out the highest was, oops, I think I might have to go over to a different channel because I took my poll away. Hold on a second. And of course my frickin', give me a second, I'm having some technical issues here. Okay. All right, sorry. And Delilah, every time I do something and there's a noise, Delilah gets scared and runs off. So I just threw my my mouse because my mouse keeps not working. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's Bluetooth and it just stops working. Jesus. You know what? I don't have time for it. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this off, and then we'll go over to my channel, and we'll see what the poll says. I don't know how else to do this. Oh, good gracious. So I thought when I did the poll, it would show up on my sheet here, but it didn't. So just give me a second. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. So let me go to my dash. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys have probably already seen the poll before I have, but leave it to the system. It's like every day. It can't just can't just be normal. It's got to be a problem every day. Take your time, computer. I mean, we got nothing but time here. Might as well just go ahead, take your time. Take your time. All right. Now that I got this pulled up, let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. So what is your appetite for crime scene photos? Should they be confidential? And so 56% of our audience, more than half, believes that the public absolutely has a right to know. I agree with that. I think once you get into the court systems, it's public information, as unfortunate as it is. And I think people have a right to learn from those cases. I think that the educational value is relevant. I think the public information, because we paid for these cases, okay? Let's be honest. The investigation, the film, the photos, everything belongs to we the people. As soon as law enforcement walks inside the house, now I understand there are some things like child P. We have laws that prevent us from getting those. Even law enforcement themselves they have to, when they have that, it's illegal for them to possess it. So they have to put rules and laws in place in their offices so they can keep those things secure for trial. They're not even allowed to have them. That's how illegal it is. So I don't think illegal photos, or in fairness, you know, there are some in child photos, somebody that's under the age of 18, I think should wait until that person turns 18, and, you know, if they had stayed alive, or have like a 20-year on them before they can be public. I think for underage cases, I think there needs to be some limits. But to totally say that we don't, because at the end of the day, those photos belong to the public. That those cameras, the film, the processing, the government agencies, the court systems, those are all owned by us, we the people. So if you're wanting to get down to the granular thing, I am truly about, it's ours. It's the public's. So I do believe that the public has a right to know. It should be up to the family. I know that came in a high second with 34% of our audience, but families are over emotional, and I understand why. It's their family member, and they don't want to see this stuff plastered all over the internet, and I get that. But does their feelings override law? Or override the fact that it's the taxpayers that paid for the investigation? And I would hope, and this is the problem with social media, is that social media doesn't blur things, you know, where our mainstream media would be a little more sympathetic to the will of the people, and probably cover those things up, because mainstream media has had a lot of control over the consumption of the people, even though that they've been protected by freedom of speech, and it's got them in this problem, because now we the society has said, okay, we're tired of you sugarcoating stuff. We are the public. We have the right to know. So if you're not going to give us the information, then we're going to go get it ourselves, and we're going to produce it. And that's kind of where we are right now. And I kind of see that the families may not like that, right? Because previously the people were entitled to it are the journalists. Well, now we've got a lot of independent journalists on social media. They have the same laws that affect them, but we don't have board of directors saying, we don't want this out there. We need to blur this. We need to blur this. We need to blur this. We don't have, we don't worry about losing our job because we went against our board of directors. We come out here, we say what we want to say. When mainstream media fails to bring people's names up, fine. We're done watching you. We'll go to a social media channel that doesn't mind telling us who the criminals are in this country. And so this has been the back and forth, social media content creators that run newsworthy content, not just entertainment, and the mainstream media. You know, some of them embrace us because they are content creators themselves. We have a lot of social media, mainstream media people like Bryan Enton, Ashley Banfield, Court TV, Vinnie Politan. You know, these people wouldn't be making their own channels on YouTube if we weren't making headway here. They know that mainstream media, the TV, is all moving to app-based related stuff. We have to remember that. And so that gives us the ability to come in here and do that. But with the photos, you know, that's what the fear of the family is that they're going to turn the screen on and they're going to see their child or their loved one. You know, they can't even bear to see these photos. They may never even have looked at these photos. And somebody like me that would love just to see, not necessarily to present to you guys, but to explain to you guys, because there's been a lot of stuff that I saw that was too graphic for me to produce here on this show, that I've had to explain to you what I saw in an effort to explain what we were seeing, especially with Kylie Rodney. I can't tell you how many sunk cars that I had to watch, how many people I had to watch lose their life from water and stuff. While I didn't come and subject each and every one of you to it, I had to watch it to be able to understand what I was seeing when I saw that light where we saw her car sink. You know? We did find the fire camera. We watched her lose her life. It was from a far distance away, but we watched it. So, it's one of those things where I think parents should have some say in it. And I think their say should be if it's under the age of 18. But once you're an adult, your family no longer has a legal right to you. Okay? Unfortunately, that's just how the law works. So in reality, for this particular case, I don't want to see these kids. I don't want to present these kids to the world. I don't want to show you guys that stuff. But the people that have to teach classes, have to teach these criminologies, have to write books or make movies that need to be as accurate as possible, that information is crucial. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, the public is entitled to it. The law says we are entitled to it. Now, people may want to go and start changing the law. I think that's bad. It's poor strategy. It will stop education. People are going to have to learn law from or crime scene investigation from 50-year-old work. No, that's not okay with me. That's not okay with me. We paid for the investigation. I would hope that if anybody does get their hands on graphic material, you do not show it. Okay? We have to kind of police ourselves out here on social media. It is our responsibility to make sure it's safe for our audience. I don't want to scar somebody for life because I'm scarred for life from the crap I have to look at. But I still have to come from an educated point of view when we're discussing some of these cases. So for me, I would want these crime scene photos. If I were to present them, they would be blurred. I would not be releasing these things to the public. But more importantly, I would like to see them. Do I think maybe we could put a limit on that? Like maybe, not release it for like the first 2 years, maybe first 5 years, or make like, you can have these graphic stuff for educational purposes in 10 years, or something like that, where some of the pain has died down. What I think is the biggest blow to people in these cases, like Gannon Stout, is when they released it was just right after the case closed. It was still so it was just too soon. It was too soon. It's a boy, it's a young boy, and I don't agree. I agreed with people being able to get the content because I think it's public information, but I don't agree that everybody should have, unless they went out and got it themselves, should have been privy to those things. Discussing those things, turning those photos into sketches, which is very easy to do this day and age, to make them more of renderings versus actual photos. I can understand stuff like that, but it was too raw. That's it, Lady for Justice. I think that was it. It's just too raw. So I'm kind of, playing the devil's advocate because I understand the great things that these cases and especially the crime scene photos do provide, especially for future cases and future investigations and stuff like that. Not just for law enforcement, but for the public, for reporters, for people that talk about these things. It's knowledge. And not everybody has an appetite for the kind of knowledge, the on-the-job training that you have to go through to talk about some of these cases. It's graphic. It's disgusting. It's the worst of humanity. So I just think that people need to police themselves on these platforms and ask themselves a few questions, because it's about you, right? Every person that comes on here and does things, it's a representation of who you are as a person. So I just think that we need to police ourselves and be a little more compassionate for the family. I don't think law enforcement needs to take away our rights by limiting, public record. But I think that we as the public, or we as content creators that know how to acquire these things and get our hands on these things, that we understand that this is somebody's. We need to love on these things, even graphic things, as much as the family loves their children. Is this something, if this was your child, that you would want out there? Or how would you explain or speak to this if this was about your child or your family member? Is this something that would be okay with you if it gets out there? You know, sometimes asking yourself simple questions can help you keep your own self in check. So that's just really all I have. I don't think that we need to be limiting this stuff. I understand that's the preference of the family, and I understand why they have that. I mean, we can disagree and still understand that they have a valid point. But I'm a public record junkie. And this is in my wheelhouse, and I don't want my government limiting my consumption of what I need that is public record. So that's kind of my stance on it, but it's a pure legal stance. It's not one that's emotional. From an emotional standpoint, from a human being standpoint, yeah, I can understand this brutal attack on their loved one. They want to remember their loved one happy. Okay? They want to remember their loved one in the best possible light. BK stole their loved one from them for no other purpose than just to find out whether he could get away with it. You know, it's unfair. These families have been unfairly treated. These families were disregarded when it mattered the most from the state, from Bill Thompson. I hope he's retiring. Bill, you need to hang up your hat. You're an asshole. I'm sorry. You didn't even talk to the freaking family. You didn't even talk. I don't even want to talk about Bill Thompson. He's going to give me heartburn. He's going to give me heartburn. But you know, it's a tough topic. It's a tough topic. What's right? What's not right? And you know that if they allow these records to be public and send them, people are going to use them, and they're not going to police themselves, and that's what everybody's concerned about. But I don't think that they should violate the will of the people because of bad actors. You know, what they could do is, if the bad actors violate the law, they can hold the bad actors accountable. But the problem is they won't be violating the law. Even if they showed the details, the graphic photos in raw form, which you could go online. Go online and type corpse and go to the images. Those are all somebody's loved ones. Okay? Every single photo you see in there is somebody's loved ones. It's public record, folks. And I understand our hearts, and we bleed for these families, but there's going to be a case that I'm going to want those records for, and I will not be able to get them. And that's not okay with me. So I have to be the same way for all of these cases, whether it hurts or not. And the bottom line is, it is my belief that this is public record, and the public has the right to know. And I'm not going to change my stance on that. And I love these families. Okay, don't misunderstand me. One of my best friends is with Kaylee's brother. Okay, I care about these people. I care about these people. But I also believe in the public record. I also believe in the sanctity of free press and freedom of speech. And those are paramount to my feelings. So, all right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And Delilah is ready to go play BALL, and you are lucky that you only hear the two whimpers, because she's going to get loud as soon as this thing ends. She's going to go, ah! Delilah, do you want to go play ball? Do you want to play ball? What do you want to do? You want to play ball right now? Right now. I just thought I'd show you. I wanted to give you guys my receipts. I didn't want you thinking I was lying. This is the way she yells at me. When she thinks she's going to go out and play BALL, she yells at me. So we got to go play. Oh, hat drawing. Thank you. I'm sorry, Delilah. You're going to have to wait. I didn't mean to tease you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I'm a bad mommy. Okay. So the first person that won is, and you have to be in the chat, guys, to win your prize. Mom and Son 7836. Is Mom and Son 7836 in the chat? Is Mom and Son 7836 in the chat? Delilah says she wants to come visit me. I'm sure she is. Mom and Son 7836. Mom and Son 7836 is not in the chat. Okay. The next person in the chat is Kelly 0743. Is Kelly 0743 in the chat? Kelly 0743. Rod's saying she's here. She's got to come to the chat. She's got to say, hi, I'm here. Kelly 0743. No, she's not in the chat. Okay. This is the last of the three, and then the hat's going to have to go to the next show. And we're going to have another show today. We're going to have another show later today. What time is it? It's 10:20 now. So we'll probably kick off our show around 4. I don't see Kelly in the chat. Okay, here's the last one, and we are going to have to go to the next show, and Sonia's going to have to bring up 3 people at the end of the next show. Alicia says, I'm here. But you're not the right one. You're not the right name. Okay, last name. Sarah Nelson 777. Is Sarah Nelson 777 in the chat? Sarah Nelson 777. Are you in the chat? You guys have to remember, in order for you to get your prize, you have to be in the chat to accept the prize. Alicia's ready. She's ready to take the prize. She's ready to take it. So is VA. Sarah Nelson, 777. All right, guys. Well, the hat. I'm wondering, is the hat bad luck or something? Is the hat a bad luck or something? Because I ran it. It didn't hit the goal, and then I'm like, okay, well, we'll give it away by the end of the week. And now everybody that won the hat, this is like the shirt too, because I changed the rules. You have to be in the chat in order to get your prize. And so now we're having problems because but we're giving away more prizes. It's not once, every 6 months. We're kind of giving away prizes more. We've already given away a keychain, a koozie cup, a shirt, a coffee cup, I think. We've given away, several things just over in the last, I think, 45 days. So the rules are, in order for you to get your prize, you have to be in the chat. So, people come in, and I appreciate the love. I appreciate that, but I'm just trying to give you something. That's all. I'm trying to give you something. So tonight we'll do another live. Usually our evening, because we got the mob crew, the Clutch Them Pearls and stuff. So everybody's kind of everywhere else. So we usually have a smaller show, but it's a lot more one-on-one with me and the audience than when we have like hundreds of people in here. So I'll go live tonight. If you guys want to come over and listen to what we got going on, we will give a hat away. If somebody's in the chat, it may roll over. I don't like it rolling over to Saturday. I think last time we got somebody by the evening show. I think we did finally give the prize away. I would be excited over anything BHP related. Aw. Well, thank you, Crystal Pistol. All right, guys. Well, come on back later tonight, and hopefully we give a hat away. I don't know what to say. We're trying here. We need people here to take the hat. We need people here to take the hat. Oh, and we're going to start, I want you guys to start getting your mindset, because we just changed the, names on our show from like bronze, silver, gold, platinum to like medium roast, whatever, to go with our coffee theme. So we're going to be, I've been trying to find something. Delilah, give me just 2 more seconds. Thank you, Summy. I appreciate it. So, where was I going with this? I forgot what I was doing. What was I just talking about? My brain. I think I've been on here too many hours now. I love the new setup. Very well polished. Well done. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, I forget what I was saying. I think I'm too tired. I need to go take Delilah out. She needs to go run and play ball. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in the backyard and play a little bit and get her ran out. And then we'll be back later this afternoon. Hopefully we'll get rid of the hat. But if we don't get rid of the hat, then we'll roll it over to Saturday. Don't make me roll the hat over to Saturday. It's Friday. It's TGIF. Somebody needs to be a winner chicken dinner, okay? Oh, yeah, I was getting back to the deception deck. And I was trying to find a way, because the deception deck is a lot more than most of our prizes. It's like an $80 deck of cards, okay? And so I wanted something to be notable for that type of prize. And so I was thinking about it, maybe we should update our tiers again, instead of it being, medium light roast or something. Maybe we'll throw it back out to the audience, and maybe we'll have another voting of the names, and maybe that will be the prize for the deception deck. So I'm kind of working on that, but there's a prize. We got a deception deck. I committed myself to giving it to one of our audience. We've been bouncing back at least 6 months on what we're going to do to give away this deck of cards. So now I think I have an update on what we're going to do. Is Mr. and Mrs. E up in the chat? It's nice to see you. We are still wrapping you guys with love and praying over you often. If you guys haven't said a prayer or even gone over to their channel, Mr. and Mrs. E True Crime, they're the crime dogs. Please go over there, hit them up. Check them out. Great, amazing people. Just great, amazing people. And they have made their debut on TikTok as well. And it looks like they're doing really well on TikTok. TikTok, I will tell you what it is. It's a great way to get exposure and get these cases out. But it's a lot of work over on TikTok. Oh, a lot of work. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the show. So hopefully we'll be giving away a hat this afternoon when we come back to air this afternoon show. So rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, kind to one another. And God bless you guys. Take care and have a great TGIF until the evening, where we're going to say we like to arrive alive.